little speed metal from Motorhead for all you gearheads. FX welcomes you to NASCAR Busch Series Racing from Las Vegas. This town loves numbers, big winning numbers. The Las Vegas Motor Speedway holds the winning ticket. 250,000 fans will be here this weekend, and over $1 million up for grabs in Victory Lane today. The hotels on the Vegas Strip would love to trade places with our Super 8 Hollywood Hotel, at least for this weekend, just above Victory Lane as we go to where the races are to bring you closer to the action. Hi, I'm Chris Myers, and welcome to the Super 8 pre-race show. Nice to have you with us. It's America's gathering place for NASCAR every weekend, and the start of a great weekend on the Fox Racing Networks. After today's race, stay with FX as we present the final practice session for tomorrow's Nextel Cup race. You'll see Sunday, 2:30 Eastern on Fox. But right now, getting ready for 300 miles in the Busch Series with a great field, including Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Michael Waltrip, as well as some hometown favorites, and we'll discuss that in a moment. Always a favorite, former crew chief and our car counter, Jeff Hamlin. Nice to have you with us.
I'm a car counter now?
You're always counting. It's part of your job.
Man.
It's what you do. And you counted 50 cars in the Busch Series tried to get into this field. It tells you it's that wide open. It's a race people want to be in.
They really want to be in it, Chris, because the fact not only is it a good paying race, it's an opportunity to learn about this racetrack as far as if you are like a Winston Cup guy or Nextel Cup driver. They want to be in this race. Young guys like Billy Parker, J.J. Yaley, Casey Kane. Everybody wanted to come to Las Vegas because this is a good paying race. It's a great town to come to, Chris, so a very exciting time here.
All right, and some of those, it's been a busy few days for car owner and NFL head coach Joe Gibbs.
Yep.
Earlier in the week, he acquired running back Clinton Portis to be the driving force for the Redskins. Yesterday, one of Joe's drivers winning the pole here. It was the first Busch career pole for Mike Bliss. He wins the right to be interviewed by our Jeannie Zalasko. Jeannie?
Boy, what a prize. He said you won the right to be interviewed by me, so we'll go ahead with it. 17 poles in the Truck Series. You've never even been on the front row in the Busch Series. So what's the difference this weekend in Las Vegas?
I think it was that big crap table. I played it down. You know, Steve Addington came along this year and helped a lot. He's our crew chief now, and he's been with Jason Keller for years. And he's just added a lot to this team, aero-wise and even spring-wise in the front. We just weren't getting down, and it just proved. I mean, the car that's sitting on the front row is a sister car to JJ's car, so and he's 7th or 8th quick. So I mean, those two cars are dang good cars.
All right, little driving to do, and then you can get back to the craps table. Deal?
I'm getting the heck out of here. I can't wait to get here, and I can't wait to leave.
All right, Chris?
All right, thanks. Yeah, no salary cap in the Busch Series, but a new crew chief for Mike Bliss, former Truck Series champ.
Yeah, I think that's one of the keys right now, Chris, to his success is the fact Steve Addington's come over. This is a brand new car that Steve wanted to build for Mike, and the dividends have already paid off because he's on the pole now. If they can just close the deal and get to Victory Lane.
All right, Jeff, this week NASCAR announcing the indefinite suspension of 25-year-old driver Kevin Grubb for violation of the substance abuse policy. Grubb will remain suspended until he meets NASCAR's terms and conditions, including counseling and periodic random testing. NASCAR President Mike Helton said that there is a moral responsibility to protect the integrity of the sport. Some heard this news, and although the situations aren't identical, they say, hey, well, Scott Wimmer, he didn't receive any kind of punishment.
Well, I mean, things are kind of like up in the air as far as Scott Wimmer's concerned, but they're two separate issues, at least at this point. And you need to kind of point out the fact that NASCAR doesn't do any kind of random testing. They do what they call reasonable suspicion testing, and what that means is if they believe something's going on, they need to do a test to do two things. Number one, either to clear that person's name or to get that person some help. So that's what NASCAR is all about, is to keep the sport as safe and as clean as possible.
All right, reasonable suspicion, no random testing. All right, thanks, Jeff. We're just getting cranked up here in Las Vegas, and as we get set for Busch Series racing, you're going to hear from the Busch brothers. A little brotherly love around Las Vegas. It's the Super 8 pre-race show on FX. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Busch Series Super 8 pre-race show here on FX, and we're located just a few miles north of the famous Las Vegas Strip. And on the car ride in, as you get to the track, this is one of the sides wishing the native sons of Las Vegas, Kurt and Kyle Busch and Brendan Gaughan, the best of luck. And there's a look at the 18-year-old who will make racing, of course, today in the Busch race, but on Sunday on Fox, as we welcome Kurt Busch, his older brother, his first Cup race, and you must be awfully proud.
Gentlemen, it's great. It's a big day for the Busch family. And Mom's going to be working as a scorer, and Dad's up on top being a spotter for Kyle. it's a big day with all the brother history and the family history in NASCAR as well.
And thanks for being with us here in the Hollywood Hotel. How do three guys, when they talk about how this sport has grown and spread out, last year we had guys from California, but this race represents guys from 23 different states. But how do three guys from Vegas end up racing in the Cup race tomorrow?
I don't know how timing's all worked out. It's been a challenge for one thing to get to this point, and then to have my little brother follow in my footsteps, and then Brendan Gong, he's a strong challenger. It's just the way fate is. You never know how to predict things, and especially in Vegas, of course. But I think all of us just working hard from the ground up and understanding cars and being in one place at the right time to find the right car owner, find the right sponsors, things came together for us.
It's almost like kind of like you beat the odds by most people's standards, thinking you need to be on at least the Eastern Seaboard if you want to be a successful Cup driver, a Busch driver. But a few seconds ago we were talking about the little 3/8 mile bull ring right outside of the Speedway here, where you kids grew up. I mean, a lot of good things. And the way you described it, this track has gone through a lot of transitions. Also, good learning place.
It was just tremendous to grow up in this area because it's not known for its racing. But we attacked it. My father taught me cars from the ground up. We raced all around the Southwest. But I think the key to the West Coast drivers getting a start was that Tucson Winter Heat Series back about 10 years ago. That's where Hornaday got picked up by Dale Earnhardt Sr. That opened the door. Greg Biffle came through. I was fortunate enough. Harvick, now my little brother. Now there's guys from the Northwest. Casey Kane. He's from Washington.
And so if there's a passion for racing, then you can find your way to the big time. And if you follow the crowd in Vegas, sooner or later you end up maybe in a buffet line. But if you follow Kyle Busch around town, sooner or later you end up racing a car. Here's the driver of the 5 cars he takes around his old stomping grounds.
Hi, I'm Kyle Busch. Welcome to bright and sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, and of course, my childhood home. Las Vegas is known for a lot of things, none of which is racing. So people are always asking my brother and I, how'd you get into it? Well, it all started when my grandfather was taking my dad to races, and then my dad started taking my brother to races, and then I came along, and I was always into it from then. It just all escalated from there. And right there's my bedroom window, where of course I had all my NASCAR memorabilia. Oh yeah, my Jeff Gordon fan club membership. That just might be why I joined Hendrick Motorsports. As racing's always been in my blood, let me take it to my second racing home. When I wasn't at home messing with big cars, I was here messing with small cars. Come inside, let me show you. Before you get to big car racing, you gotta start out small. RC cars, what a way to start out. Working here and hanging out here for 10 or so years, you definitely learn all the ropes of RC cars. Here's your TC3 electric version. You start out there. Then you get to the more complicated stuff, the Nitro TC3. Unlike at a car lot where you're buying a car, here you think you're buying a car, which what it is, it's a box full of parts. You gotta put the thing together. See this RC Nitro engine? This is what you need to go fast. I always had to tune it for my brother. Y'all know him. And every Saturday night that we weren't racing out at the big track, we'd be racing right out here. And you don't know who'd win, of course. So we'll have to see what happens on Sunday. And of course in Hobbytown, USA, we all have all of our various diecasts. But my favorite, the NASCAR diecast. Oh yeah, check this out, one more thing. Yeah, Kyle Busch action figure someday. That's right.
Big pimpin', baby.
And we're back with brother Kurt. Any reaction there?
Oh, he's hilarious, isn't he? I think he won a few races when he was racing here. What do you think? 1, 2? He was awesome, and he did a good job with that little skit. I mean,
But tell me one thing though, who's more messier? You or him?
Oh,
growing up?
his stuff was all over the place. But he did have to tune my RC car because I was in the old days of the electric stuff where he got to do the gas stuff.
Don't pick on your brother, but he looks so young. I mean, you look young, but he looks like he's 12. In that
we both look like we're 12. Just those good looks, I guess.
All right,
40,
speaking
we're supposed to appreciate it.
Of another, Kyle and Kurt, they aren't the only young stars with a K in their first name. 2 weeks ago, Casey Kane lost the Nextel Cup race in Rockingham. Just a photo finish, but instead of pouting, he went on to win the pole for tomorrow's race, and he starts today in the Busch race in the second row. Casey is standing by with Matt Yoka. Matt?
Casey Kane, fresh on the heels of winning his first Nextel Cup pole. You're trying to win your second Busch Series race, starting from third, same spot you started with at home. So when you won your first Busch race, same car. You had to like your chances.
Yeah, I think we have a great shot today. I mean, happy hour was all right, the final practice all right, but if we made the right changes for today and the track slickened up some, I think we got a good shot. It'll be fun.
Rolls off third. Chris?
All right, thanks, Matt. Back with Kurt. You know, just when you came in, when we talk about Cup racing to the Las Vegas race last year, you were the points leader. You're 7th in the point system now. How do you approach things differently based on the new point system?
Well, there's a bunch of different ways to look at it, and I think it's going to be up to the right teams to be able to play out this new tire the right way. I mean, you can abuse it, you can run hard real quick, or you can be the guy that saves your setup more towards the end of the run. 30 laps in, that's when you come to the front. And so I think that's what it's going to take to win this Nextel Cup Points Championship, is to be the guy at the end of the year that comes in, 10 races to go, he's the heat.
All right, we'll continue with Kurt Busch. We'll talk a little Busch and Cup racing as we continue from the Hollywood Hotel, getting closer to the start of today's Samstown 300-mile race here on FX. The drivers are getting ready. Stick around. Welcome back to the Busch Series Super 8 pre-race show, coming to you on FX from Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we count you down to the start of the race. And look at the championship points after just 2 races so far. Johnny Sauter, David Green in the thick of things with the Bushwhackers. We'll have 8 of those running in today's race. The Bushwhackers, the Nextel Cup drivers who also enter these races from time to time. And here in the Super 8 Hollywood Hotel with Jeff Hammond and Chris Myers, Kurt Busch. And you're a guy who never has driven in a Busch race and have no plans to do that, going right from the truck to the Cup Series.
I had that fortunate opportunity, worked with my buddy Hammond, and just when you go from trucks to Cup, there's so much to learn and digest. And Jack said, let's just go make the mistakes there and learn from the ground up. And it's been a ride, to say the least.
Yeah, now that was exciting right there. I got to stop him right quick. With 30 seconds to go at Dover, his first race, he qualified well. He got in the wall just a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's
been all night fixing it.
That's that aggressive driving overall. But, you know, fans still wondering. You won 4 races last year, and the incident in Michigan, right? Some fans kind of turned on Kurt Busch. You came back. You won in Bristol. But what are your thoughts on how people should perceive Kurt Busch? You seem like an easygoing guy here, but when you get behind the wheel, it's a different deal.
Well, it's when you put that helmet on and when you have the faith in the guys that they've given you the right car, you want to do well for them. And maybe I've approached it different ways and the wrong way sometimes. Stats, I like to look at stats. We've got 4 wins. We had some top 5s and top 10s last year. But I think there's a bigger perspective on things, and that's maybe what I've failed to understand. And this year we've got a big change with the way we're approaching our car and our team and working with charities outside the racetrack. So there's a bigger role to Kurt Busch than just driving the car.
All right, we wish you luck with that, Kurt. Let's check in quickly with Steve Burns, who's standing by. Steve?
Hey, Chris, Joe Nemechek is a big winner here in Vegas. 4 finishes of 3rd or better, including the win here last year. But, Joe, you're going to start 18th. Can you get to the front?
I definitely think so. Our Cellular One Chevy is working very well. I messed up qualifying. We should have had a shot at the pole, and I just got the car a little bit too nervous getting in the corners, and when you're loose, you can't go. So the new tires Goodyear has, they wear out. Handling is going to be a premium, and Brian Patty, this whole Cell One group has worked hard, and the car's good.
All right, best of luck, Joe Nemechek. He's led 6 out of 7 races here, Chris, for a total of over 200 laps.
Thanks, Steve and Joe. And let's bring in the guys who will be calling today's race, the voices of NASCAR and Fox and FX, Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip in the booth. Guys?
Thanks, Chris, and hi, everybody. Darrell, 15 drivers in this race will be making their first Busch Series start at Las Vegas. You've got 8 or 9 of these Bushwhackers, the Cup drivers who moonlight on Saturday in the field. Does this grippy racetrack and the change in temperature and track conditions from yesterday's last practice really favor the veteran drivers or those young kids who just want to stand on it?
I think it's still the kids. I think that the drivers that have a lot of experience, they keep wanting to go back to what they did 20 years or 10 years ago. I'm thinking 20 myself, but 10 years ago, and that just doesn't work today. Talk to Mark Martin, and we said last night, he told me, he said, you just can't the driver can't make those decisions. He's got to make it with the crew chief and the engineer. And so I think the kids are more acceptable to that kind of strategy than the veterans are.
Larry, tire management's going to be so big in Sunday's Nextel Cup race. What about in this race for 200 laps?
Well, it's the same tire that the Nextel Cup cars run. Now, these guys have a reduction of the rear spoiler, not quite as much as Nextel Cup cars. They only took a 1/4 inch from 2003. But what I've seen so far, it's a fine line. I think we've got 5 or 6 cars in this field that are going to hit the setup. We've got a bunch that's going to struggle. And the happy hour last night, the final practice, it pretty much didn't let these guys learn anything because the track temperature today is probably about 40 degrees warmer than it was last night. A lot of teams said, hey, we just went out and make sure nothing was going to fall off and nothing was leaking because we wasn't going to learn anything at all.
What I've got to know from Kurt Busch, after years of stocking supermarket shelves, working the night shift with the water department here in Las Vegas, do you walk in this racetrack and you got to just pinch yourself at what's happened to you?
It's phenomenal. Just being in this position, I feel as if everything's come together, and I'm very happy to represent my sponsors and my team, and very fortunate to be here. I mean, it just takes a lot of people in a lot of different circumstances to fall in the right place.
Well, I don't know if people realize you actually studied for a while to be a pharmacist, right? I mean, that was a possibility of going in that career path. What happened there?
Well, I studied it, and I went to the University of Arizona. They have a strong pharmaceutical school there, and was off racing too many weekends out of the year. I'd meet my dad at this track, or I'd go watch a Southwest Series race at this place, and just got behind in school because this was my dream. This is what I wanted to do, but you have to always have something to fall back on. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to do this. Racing ended up pretty damn good.
You talk about a dream. What about the fact that this season, what would be a good, I mean, besides winning championship, what's the plan for you this year?
Well, this year, there's so many different variables that we have to adjust to with the new motors at Roush Racing, working together with Yates, the Ford Racing program. And then we've got the new spoiler, the new tire. There's so many unknowns and variables going into each week. You know, we sit down before the season. You want to have some wins. You want to have some top 10s. And we're looking to get ourselves in position for that final 10 race stretch. And we're saving some tests for the end of the year as well. So we want to hit it hard at the end of the year.
Hey, Kurt, this is DW. Let me ask you something. I hear these younger drivers like yourself always talking about running the tracks on their computers. Can you tell me, what does that mean? I mean, what are you doing when you go sit in the motorhome and run the track on your computer?
I want to call up EA Sports and say we got to put tire management into the video games, because that's what we're going to have nowadays. But if you're a driver from the Busch Series or Truck Series coming up, you can go run Sears Point, or you can go run Watkins Glen. You can get the racing line. There's not much to see on the video games except for just the different challenge that you can come up with from EA Sports. They do different things against Nextel Cup drivers, but you know, the biggest thing is staying in tune with the crew chief and knowing what the engineer wants to do, and making sure, and all the crew chiefs are always working together too. Staying on the same page with them is the biggest key.
All right, DW and the guys will be ready to call the race here in just a couple of moments. Let's quickly check in. We talked about the different people represented in this Busch race from 23 different states. From New Jersey, Martin Truex Jr., and he's standing by with our Dick Bergman. Dick?
Well, Martin Truex has had a good record here in the Busch Series. He's finished second 3 times. You start fourth today. Is today the big day?
Well, I don't know. Just lucky to be here in Las Vegas. It's an exciting place to race, and got a really good car. Bass Pro car has been real good all weekend, and Boner and the guys did a great job as always, and you know, hopefully we can keep it up front all day. Got a good starting spot, so I look forward to the race.
Good luck today. Chris?
All right, thanks, Dick, as we get ready here to go racing. An exceptional crowd here. And as we said, 250,000 people through the course of this weekend. There was a great crowd on Friday to check out qualifying and gearing up for a big weekend, special moment at a track where the testing and the tweaking is over with. The game plans are locked in. Kurt, any last-minute advice that you might have for Kyle if he were listening?
Smooth with the tires.
What'd you call it?
Little shrub.
Little shrub.
That's real nice. Way to expose him in his moment of glory. Kyle's the youngest in the field at 18. Mike Harmon, the oldest. Let's go down trackside for opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to invite all of you to please rise and remain standing, please. Here for the invocation from the Motor Racing Outreach, Mr. Kenny Satterwhite. He'll be followed by today's national anthem to be performed by Mr. Charlie Daniels.
Let's pray. Father, we humbly stop and invite your presence with us here today. We thank you for the provision for all our needs. Father, we ask that you would protect us, that you would surround us with your angels for each one of us that are involved in this event today. And at the end of this day, Father, we ask that you would help us to praise you for all good things. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
A stirring rendition of our national anthem from Charlie Daniels, and the devil may have gone down to Georgia, but racing has come west. Las Vegas Motor Speedway, first track west of the Mississippi to host a Busch Series race as the drivers getting into their cars after standing with their helmets off for the opening ceremonies. And we're getting ready to go racing as they get ready as well. Nice to have you along here on FX from Las Vegas. Blue skies, plenty of sunshine here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we're getting ready to go racing. NASCAR Busch Series on FX presented by YJ Stinger, and the Castrol starting grid. Mike Bliss, first career Busch Series pole. Also in the, you'll notice in the 66 car, that's the Rusty Wallace owned car. Billy Parker will be driving there, the rookie. Let's check in with Dick Berger. Dick?
Well, this is Las Vegas, so I want to know what the odds were. And this morning I wandered around in the garage and talked to crew chiefs, and I talked to crew members, and I said, who's the favorite to win today? And Bobby Hamilton and Greg Biffle's name came up more than anybody else. Both have good cars, both have good starting positions. Biffle has the better record. He has finished as high as second in the Busch Series here. He has won a truck race here. Those are the two favorites. To Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, 2 tires or 4 tires, that will inevitably be the question today. And the 99 team of Michael Waltrip already has the answer. They felt like they were burned by a final stop last year when they took 2 tires. So guess what? The magic number this year is 4. The magic color is green. That is long green flag runs. The crew told me if we have a lot of those, this car will be scary fast. Chris?
All right, thanks, Jeannie and Dick. Kurt Busch, before we let you go, good luck tomorrow, by the way. What kind of race do you think we'll see today and tomorrow?
Bunch of different race strategies will play out. You'll see guys that'll go hard on their tires early, and then they might fade. Then you'll have guys at the end that come up to the front. But they have a tire rule in this series. You only get a certain amount of set of tires, so whoever plays that out the best will be up front. So good luck, little Busch.
Okay, shrub before. At least he's growing, right? That's Kyle. He refers. Thanks for coming by. Good luck to you, too.
Thanks.
All right, and Jeff, as we get a look at some of the sights and scenes before we get ready to go racing here, your thoughts on the kind of race and the tire management that was so discussed?
I disagree, kind of like with what Daryl's saying. I think you got to watch these veterans that know how to take care of it.
All right, let's head down for that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the microphone today's honorary Grand Marshal for the Samstown 300 from Boyd Gaming, Mr. Willie Boyd, with the 4 most famous words in motorsports.
On behalf of the employees and customers of Boyd Gaming Corporation, gentlemen, start your engines!
And the gentlemen are getting ready to roll. It's time for the Samstown 300 on FX. NASCAR Busch Series on FX presented by YJ Stinger. Presented by the Extreme Energy Drink, and ready for a little energy here in Las Vegas. The energy never stops through all hours as over 100,000 fans here to catch up on these drivers. Who's going to cash in on more than $1.5 million? Larry, Mike, and Daryl, as the cars are ready to roll. Gentlemen, start your announcing.
Well, the skies are clear here, Chris, but there's a storm brewing. Daryl says one of those young guys with his foot to the floor all the time is going to win. Jeff Hammond says it's going to be a wily veteran. Larry, help me out.
Well, I think it's going to be the guy that takes care of those tires. And I want to go back to what Jeannie Zalasko was talking about. If you got burned a year ago by just changing 2 tires, trust me, you will definitely get burned this race because they've softened the tires. The left sides especially, they're getting as much work as the right side. And I want to follow up on what Kurt Busch was talking about. That's where the real burden comes on the crew chief. You have a select number set of tires you can change on the caution. It's 3 sets. This is a 200-lap race, so there's a big burden there on those crew chiefs.
Now, crew chief, buddy, if my car handles real good, I don't have to worry about the tires because the car is going to handle good, and the car will take care of them. Why you want me to take care of them?
Because we want to be there at the end of this long run.
You're supposed to fix that before we ever got going.
You lead you a bunch of laps, but then you're going to say, I'm loose.
Listen, I'm going to drop, when they drop the green flag, I'm going to go as hard as I can because the tires are going to fall off.
Yes, they are.
And so I want to be as far ahead of everybody else so when they do fall off, by the time they catch me, I'm going to come get me some more.
4 more.
Yeah, baby.
All right, I got it. I want veteran crew chief.
There you go.
All right.
We got it.
Let's go to pit road.
Mike, it's a huge day for 27-year-old J.J. Yaley. The protege of Nextel Cup champion Tony Stewart marks his Busch Series debut, and in a big way qualified 7th. Today the goal is just to get comfortable in his race car. Remember, he's never raced with mirrors before except for his IROC debut at Daytona, so it'll be the 2nd time with a mirror. First time running in a stock car race with all these cars around. He's got to get used to that aero feel. Testing and practice is one thing, racing is another. Steve Burns?
Well, Matt, David Green won the NASCAR Busch Series title 10 years ago, almost won it last year. He is a wily veteran. His team tested here. They weren't that happy with the test, came back here this weekend, and they weren't any better. They've been trying to get that car balanced, a term you'll hear a lot this weekend.
Bombardier, a company that makes fun gear for warm weather, for cold weather, and in between, brings you the weather conditions.
Now, I'm going to tell you, we talk about the weather. Look at this track temperature, 122 degrees. That's actually about 50 degrees warmer than last night. You see the air temperature, 68 degrees. That's about 20 degrees warmer. These cars are definitely going to slide around during this race.
Yeah, earlier today it was 105, and not only that, but yesterday afternoon, Larry, it was 85 degrees. So that's a huge change, and that's going to make a huge change in these cars.
Crew chiefs had to work hard this morning to build adjustments into those cars they can make during these pit stops.
And I really think that the Cup guys, you know, they get out there and they get to practice on the track similar to what it is today. I think that's a big plus.
Most of those are older guys.
Older guys?
Yeah, older guys. Okay,
with
so are you changing your vote on me?
Oh, no, I'm going with the young kid and the old crew chief. I think that's the ticket.
200 laps make up the 300-mile distance of today's race.
Pit road speed 45 miles per hour. That's where the young guys could get in trouble, Darrell. If we do have green flag stops, we've seen it time and time again. Getting on the pit road here, it sits almost right in the middle of turn 4, the entrance. That's where the veterans could prevail, knowing how hard to push that car coming to pit road on the green.
Those cones down there, too, getting in on pit road. You got to be single file when you get there, so you can't do any racing. There's not enough room to anyway. But that's going to be another problem.
Several teams have made changes, and these drivers will go to the rear.
That was all engine changes. Only significant, Randy LaJoy, he was going to start 29th. Justin Ashburn and Mike Harmon, they were already starting into the rear, but engine change this morning before the race, so they have to go to the rear of the field.
A big field for this race, 50 cars for the 43 spots, and you can see there is the line and the cones, the commit line for pit road, and look how much further along that is than the line that starts pit road near the Sunoco and the scoring pylon.
And look what a sharp turn that is off the track, too. I mean, you just about got to make a 90-degree turn to get off the racetrack. Plus, somebody's bearing down on your back end. You got to have a little room back there.
KDW, it's hot, it's slick. You got to take care of your tires. I've only got 3 sets to give you under caution. Reach up there and pull them belts tight one more time.
You got it, baby. And we are in Las Vegas, and I think it's only appropriate we start this race off the way we're supposed to. The right way.
Absolutely.
All right, the Dodge SRT-10 Ram hits pit road, and here they come.
Boogity, 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 boys. Viva Las Vegas.
Bobby Hamilton Jr., that 25 car on the outside, he'd love to win that race in the turn 1. He's going to do it now. He'll bring it to the bottom. Everybody be right around the bottom on these fresh tires. Got a good run off turn 2 as well, about 3 car lengths.
3 wide behind him at about 8th place.
expect to see that upper groove, that higher groove, really start to work for some of these guys. Because as they start sliding up the racetrack, they're going to have to be able to utilize that.
Right now, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car, you heard the report in the beginning. That's the car that everybody was pointing to, and he's pulled out to about 20 car lengths going down the backstretch.
Young driver.
Wily old crew chief.
Wily old crew chief.
Harold Holly. And he's one of the ones that elected. In fact, he told me they made race practice runs in qualifying practice yesterday. Last night, he said, we just did a little bit of testing. We put the car how it was the best yesterday.
Guys, one thing I've been watching already, J.J. Yaley started the race in 7th place and has already fell back to 17th. Young man's gotten caught up in this race condition type situation he's not used to, but he's going to the back of the pack in a hurry.
Yeah, the 18 car, and Darrell, wouldn't you agree, what he needs to accomplish here is run 200 laps. That should be his biggest agenda.
And when you've been out there by yourself, qualifying and qualified well, but you get cars all around you, and these cars move a lot more than people realize. There's a lot of air moving around, and that moves the car around.
Hamilton Jr. has checked out in 3 laps. He's built up a 1.7-second lead. And you don't see that often.
And back to Yaley just a little bit. I mean, he's doing the smart thing. Get somewhere where you're comfortable. Hopefully it won't be at the end of the longest line.
David Stremme, last year's Rookie of the Year with Michael Waltrip. That is in 12th place.
And I think Michael's car will come in the longer we go. I think he'll start running that high line like you see him doing now. And his car traditionally just gets better on the longer runs.
Three wide right behind J.J. Yaley's number 18. Jason Keller, 22, lifts. So we can get back to double file there. Mike Wallace in the picture. Paul Menard up top in the 33.
And Yaley's got a spotter that's telling him, you know, 3 wide and you're in the middle, and, you know, he's dealing with things he hadn't had to deal with before. He's processing information right now, and he can use it to his advantage later on, maybe.
59 car Stacy Compton underneath the 33 car Paul Menard. This is a battle back there for about 23rd, 22nd, 23rd. And you know, Darrell, this track traditionally has been a pretty hit-your-mark racetrack. If you don't hit your mark getting in the corner, the only thing you can almost do sometimes is just kind of stop and start over.
Yeah, turn 1's really kind of tricky. I mean, you swing out, almost hit the wall going down into turn 1 there on the outside, and then but you can really drive in hard. Turn 3's a little sharper turn, kind of back off early, but pick up the throttle a little quicker.
32, David Stremme dropping back just a bit to 13th. A little bit ahead of him, 2 cars ahead of him, Michael Waltrip. Jeannie?
Well, Michael Waltrip already discussing the fuel strategy here at Las Vegas, even on the very first lap. The decision was, look, let's think about lap 67. But the thought process is, let's keep an eye on where the leaders are. We don't want to give up that much. We can stay out because, as you alluded to there, DW, your bro sure likes to stay out on those long green flag runs.
Yeah, he does, Jeannie, and that car has always been real good on those long runs. That's where he makes up most of his time. But again, I'll just say again, you can't give up. He's at the start line now, and the 25 car is coming off of turn 2 over there. You can't give up that much distance on the racetrack and expect to chase him down.
But the reason he's thinking 67 laps is, even though, Darrell, I know we're going to get a caution, there's no question, but as a crew chief, you have to start planning this race. Green flag from start to finish, 67 laps times 3 is 201 laps. That evens it out.
And when you drive the old dream machine, you've got to be able to do the math.
Fellow who's doing the math is this man, Johnny Sauter, the Kleenex Pontiac. He's come from 16th to 7th, plus 9 from the start of this race.
And realistically, when everything shakes out, he right now is the Busch Series points leader. Kevin Harvick is not running all the races. Johnny Sauter is second, running the entire circuit.
Speaking of Harvick, there he is in the 21. In 10th place. Just gave up a spot to Greg Biffle. Meanwhile, rookie J.J. Yaley has slipped to 22nd. But his 33.90s right now are about 0.8 of a second off of what the leader is running.
Well, he's just back there in traffic, and he's getting the car's getting blown around quite a bit by that heavy traffic he's in. I think he'll get comfortable later on.
We'll fix it on the first stop for you. Is it tight? Just a little bit, just taking it easy.
Matt Yoakum with more.
About 5 laps ago, Mike, Doug Hewitt, JJ's crew chief, said, has the car come around yet? He said no. And and he didn't answer anything after that. Then his spotter, former Busch Series driver Curtis Markham, chimed in and said, the car looks like it's tight in the center of the corner. That's what it looks like to me. And then you did hear JJ finally say the car is on the tight side.
You know, and there's a great voice of experience. Curtis Markham has run a lot of races in this division, knows what he's seeing, translates it to his rookie driver.
And the rookie may not know. So,
one thing about it, he's going to school right now.
After 15 laps, Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s lead on Martin Truex Jr. It had climbed to nearly 3 seconds. It's now down to 2.2. And the only driver who's running lap times equal to Hamilton right now is the number 9 of Matt Kenseth in 12th place.
Yeah, he's definitely mowing them down back here coming through the field now. Looked like the car really came to him here in the last few laps.
Joe Nemechek following a game plan. Up to 5th place now, Steve.
Hey, Mike, he is hauling the mail. He started back in 18th, just got by Busch for 5th. Just seconds ago, his crew chief Brian Patty said, hey, Joe, take care of that right front. Joe radioed back, said, hey, right now she's perfect. Brian said, then take advantage of it.
That's what he's doing. His car almost runs below the white line as he goes underneath Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. That's a battle for 4th right now. He definitely has the best race car out there.
I don't know. He might have the best one out there, but I like his position. I like 25's position better.
Look at that lead in just 17 laps, and I think Hamilton Jr.'s pedaled it a little bit. He had that lead up to about 3 seconds.
Yeah,
now he's on cruise control.
Well, he passed a few cars here, and a couple of 3-lap cars took him out for the bottom of the racetrack, cost him a little time. You know, the way this team, the 25 team, ended up the season last year, you got to believe that they're going to be a strong contender for that Busch championship this year, because he came on really strong. He gained more points than anybody at the end of last year.
3 wide back there. Stacy Compton, the 1 of Johnny Benson, and the deuce of Ron Hornaday.
What was it, Mike?
17th place.
What was it, Mike, Larry? I mean, with about 7 or 8, 10 races to go, Bobby Hamilton Jr. wasn't he? What was he? Just barely in the top 10 in points. And he almost had a chance to, he almost had a shot at winning the championship there at Homestead.
Yeah, I mean, that 25 car, he definitely came on there at the end,
Boy,
made up a bunch of ground. You know, another car I've been watching is Greg Biffle in that 60 car. He's back there in 10th. And I talked to his crew chief this morning, Brad Parrott. You know, I always ask my normal questions, new car, old car. I said, a brand new car. I said, Brad, you do your bodies in-house, put the bodies on? He said, no, we got one chance to get the body hanger that does Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s bodies. They said we'll put one body on for you, so it said we'll take that.
That's right. That's a good move.
Biffle trying to get past David Green, number 37 Pontiac. A couple of lappers there.
Yeah, these guys are already in heavy lap traffic at lap 20.
And David continues to run the Pontiac. You know, even though there's no Pontiac involvement anymore, they're still pretty happy with their car.
And they're still a legal race car.
Oh, yeah.
There's no factory support.
In the center there. They carrying off like last night.
Dick Bergeron, do we have a problem brewing on the lead car?
Well, it sounds that way listening to Bobby Hamilton's radio. He said he has a skip, and Harold Holly, his crew chief, said, of course, nothing we can do about it now. Leader, engine trouble.
Well, and what I anticipate, Darrell, I walked through that garage area this morning. These guys are pulling such low gears, like 400s, 411s. Almost everybody in the garage area, especially the top cars, were changing valve springs and rocker arms this morning, trying to keep as little time as possible on them. 9,200 RPMs for these things.
See, in the Busch Series, you can run a roller camshaft. Now, in the Cup cars, you got to run a flat tappet camshaft. A roller is much harder on the valve train because it can be more radical because it's got the roller. So that could cause you some engine problems.
Hamilton's lead down to 1.1 seconds as Jeff Fuller is the first car headed for the garage. Welcome back to Las Vegas, where prior to today, Bobby Hamilton Jr. had led only 1 lap in 3 previous starts. Today, he's led all 26 of them so far, and he's pumped his margin over Martin Truex Jr. back up to 1.9 seconds.
I believe Truex is closing though, Mike. I just keep watching him through the corners here. And his car looks like it's getting better, and Bobby's might be falling off a little bit.
But all of a sudden, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in 25, his lap times have picked back up just a little bit, Darrell.
Well, he probably felt out that skip he had to decide if there's anything serious or not. I guess if you're leading the race the way he is, you just run her till she blows. That's what I do.
Yeah, he's one of the few cars that's still running in the 33-second bracket besides Joe Nemechek.
It's kind of like his crew chief said, "There's nothing we can do about it now, bud."
The Truex is 2 seconds behind Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25, and Joe Nemechek in the 87 is about 3.5 seconds behind.
Nemechek won from 29th last year. Today he started 18th and is up to 3rd. Now Kyle Busch has flirted with the top 5, but he just dropped a spot to Robbie Gordon and now sits in 8th place. Got that got back around Gordon and around David Green on this last lap. Climbs back up to 7th.
You know, I was talking to the group there, and there you see his dad Tom up on the spotter stand. I was talking to his group. You see all the fender decals that these cars run, their contingency decals. Kyle Busch is at the shop every day, and they said one of his jobs is he puts every one of those fender decals on all of his race cars.
You know why? Because they all pay a little something. He wants to know how much he's going to get out of it. Don't want to leave one off. It might pay a big
There
buck.
you see, though, a prime example. He was going down in the corner, right in the middle. The car just jumped sideways with him. The only thing you can do is just back off the throttle.
Yeah, see, a young driver like that, his heart will recover a lot quicker than an old driver.
Kyle Busch will make his Nextel Cup debut tomorrow, and you'll see it live on Fox. David Green just took the air off the spoiler of one of those cars to the inside. Got a bit squirrely, but hung on. And David Green, now he's marching to the front, and so is the other Pontiac in the field, teammate Johnny Sauter. Sauter started 16th, and he's climbed up into this battle for 7th. Jeannie?
Well, for good reason, Mike. I spoke to Newt Moore, Johnny Sauter's crew chief, this morning. He told me the only way to win here was to go hard. So he put a lot of gear into this car. He said, I hope it doesn't blow up. Well, Johnny is actually having some, maybe you want to call it ignition problems. They're not sure. Johnny's saying, quote, it's on the chip every lap, essentially limiting the engine from turning too many RPMs. They switched to the other ignition box. Johnny's saying that's better, I guess, but I think we got the wrong chip in here, but looks like it's working right now. Steve?
Well, Jeannie, we said at the top of the show, David Green and his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, were concerned about getting that car balanced. Right now, it's a little bit tight from the center off, but that's good. They got the car too loose going into the corners. Yesterday in practice, Jason Ratcliffe saying David does not like that sensation at all.
And we need to explain.
Oh, trouble over here in turn 2, guys. The car around and bam, gets hit.
Caution is out. Whoa, he
boy.
about got it again.
He did get it again.
Yeah. Somebody clipped him as he went by. I can't tell who that is.
That was the 51 on the bottom. Shane Sieg, one of the 15 drivers running his first Las Vegas Busch race. There's Stacy Compton, who was involved. There's Sieg in the 51.
Compton clipped him as he went by.
So what turned out to be a 3-car crash puts us under the first caution of the day at lap 32.
A lot of damage to the left front fender, Stacy Compton in the 59.
So you don't have to use the brakes as much.
I'd say 32 laps into this run, that's about a half of a fuel run. I think we'll see pit road very busy with adjustments and 4 tires.
Now the first car to spin around was this man, Donnie Neuenberger, in the 77. He was caught up by Shane Sieg, and then Stacy Compton came along and clipped Sieg.
It's coming off turn 2 right there.
Yeah, he just gets loose. Nobody's around him, but then he gets nailed right there by the 51 car. And then Compton was trying to go by on the inside there and clipped him.
Here's where Compton comes along on the bottom in the 59.
Just got him with the tail. Or Sieg actually backed down into Compton as Compton sped past. 3 cars involved. Shane Sieg got the worst of it. First caution of the day erases Bobby Hamilton's 1.5 second lead. Now that yellow may help Casey Kane, who had dropped to 26th after starting 3rd. Casey was only 7 seconds from going a lap down.
I tell you, man, smiling though is that guy in 2nd place right now, the 87 car, Joe Nemechek. He definitely had a car, I think, that could get up there and run with Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25. Remember, these guys only have 3 sets of tires they can change under caution, but I definitely anticipate they will all be to pit road to use one of those sets right now, and for a lot of teams, a lot of adjustments.
It's really a timely caution as far as getting your car better right now, because you run enough laps, you know what you need to do to make it better.
Casey Atwood is among those who chooses not to pit.
He's actually a lap down. Steve Burns.
Hey, Larry Mack, you talked about changes. None on the 87 of Joe Nemechek's. Crew Chief Brian Patty saying, be careful, guys, on the lug nuts. There's 2 officials watching us. 4 tires, no adjustments. Joe Nemechek. Jeannie.
Well, the 27 car of Johnny Sauter, they think they've handled that ignition problem, but he's saying the car is loose and inside off. He has asked for 4 tires, tire pressure adjustment. He said, hey, how about the new ones this time? So he's getting 4 stickers, Matt.
The driver who led the most laps here last year, Kevin Harvick, made a track bar adjustment. His car was tight, a little slow on the left rear, and an air pressure adjustment as well. Dick?
Bobby Hamilton Jr. has just left it. He appears to have beaten the 8 car off pit road, but just by a little bit. He took 4 tires. They tore a piece of tape off the nose to try to improve the handling of the car.
Donnie Neuenberger took his BG Products Ford to the garage, the car that initiated that 3-car dust up in turn number 2.
And I would say they pulled some tape off of Mark Truex Jr.'s car for a couple of reasons, Darrell. More than likely, he was running a little bit warm in these hotter temperatures. They had to cool that water and oil down.
Yeah, that's what happens a lot. You know, they didn't expect it to be this hot today.
So the lap down cars will now pit. Everybody on the lead lap stopped at this first caution. Welcome back to the Samstown 300. 3rd race of the NASCAR Busch Series. Let's again show you what brought out the first caution of the day at lap 32. Donnie Neuenberger gets sideways and slides up to the top of the racetrack. He's T-boned by Shane Sieg, who slides down into the path of not 1 but 2 cars. The 00 and let's see here. There goes Jason Leffler, gets him, and then Stacy Compton.
It's almost like Stacy Compton got into the debris more than anything.
The Reese is on board, Kevin Harvick. From the Aaron's on board, Michael Waltrip.
I'm sure that spotter was all in his ear telling him what he needed to do right there.
And Jason Leffler's made a couple of pit stops for right side repair. Cleanup continues. We'll take a pit stop. You're watching NASCAR on FX.
And welcome back to NASCAR on Fox. We're in caution here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That is time for debate for Johnny Sauter and his team. He has decided that there is indeed a problem with the ignition chip, and they're trying to decide whether it's worth it to come back in and risk some track position. Of course, they would lose a lot of space they have climbed up, but they don't think they can go the distance with this ignition chip in there. Meantime, for Casey Kane, the first pit stop was all about getting 4 tires, air pressure adjustment, but now he is complaining because the brakes are about shot in this one already, and they're taking the time as well to try to pull the rear bar. It has been a hassle, guys. Dick?
Well, things are looking good for Bobby Hamilton right now. He's not only leading the race, but the skip that we were worried about earlier is not in the engine. The engine is running just fine at this moment.
Thanks, Dick.
You know, sometimes you can have a broken header. Or a cracked header or a cracked tailpipe make you think you got a little mist going on there, Larry. But I guess that rear bar, I wouldn't have thought that would have been the way to go in the race.
Well, it was probably the way to go last night in the cooler temperatures during their final practice. And what that rear sway bar does, it almost increases the rear spring rate from the center off. So definitely if they can get that bar unhooked, it'll tighten that car up.
Speaking of go, we're on 1 to go. Casey Atwood gets the free pass. He was the driver 1 lap down, closest to the race leader.
Yep, pardon me, coming through, pardon me.
Pardon me, excuse me.
Coming around.
Free pass.
And just one more time to follow up on the Johnny Sauter story in the 27. He's back in 7th right now. Is these cars normally carry 2 ignition systems, and the driver has a switch that he can go back and forth between them. And that rev limiter has a chip in it that they can change the chip to the different RPMs. So if they got a different chip, a lower chip or a higher chip in the other ignition, the driver can just swap the box and it changes the chip. It cuts cylinder outs. Now I think what was going on, Darrell, on fresher tires, these cars turn more RPMs and the lap times are quicker. That's that's where you got to be careful with RPMs. As the speed goes down, the RPMs goes down as well.
Yeah, for instance, you can have a 9,000 chip in one box, flip over to the B side or the B box, and it could have a 92 or an 8800 chip in it. So you put two different chips in there, one for when you want to go really hard.
Cars off, get ready.
Let everything hang out, and one for kind of saving it a little.
Green, green, green.
Teams have the chip. You viewers have the remote. We'll tell you when to use it in just a minute here. Bobby Hamilton Jr., our leader, being challenged by Martin Truex Jr., Joe Nemechek, David Stremme, Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon, Johnny Sauter, and pole sitter Mike Bliss.
Trying to all get by the lap car, the 10 car there of Jason Schuler, who was a lap down on the inside. Okay, the group that really won the battle off pit road was David Stremme in that 32 car, the Todd Losey crew. They moved his guy up in the top 5 after that pit stop.
All right, folks, you got your hand firmly on that remote. You got that surround sound system you got for Christmas. How about cranking it up for a few laps?
And you just got your surround sound for Christmas. That's what it sounds like. Over 31,000 horsepower in a wide. You see Matt Kenseth in that 9 car continues to move ahead. This is a battle right now with Mike Bliss in the 20, Michael Waltrip in the 99. That's a battle back there for 10th. Matt Kenseth, it's taken him 43 laps, but he's there. He's in the top 10.
And Michael's back up on the outside. I think fresh tires, he really goes good out there on that outside. He may have worn his first set out trying to run the high groove.
Right now, most everybody, like at the beginning of the race with fresh tires, they're running the bottom. It's when you start to slide around, you start to move up the racetrack.
There's just not a lot of grip up there yet. There's sand, there's dirt. There's not much rubber up here, but these cars race around here side by side, that groove widens out.
Hamilton Jr. not getting away from the field as he did on the initial start of this race. He's got 8/10 on Martin Truex Jr. There's the gap. You see it? Joe Nemechek closing in 3rd, and Kyle Busch in what he hopes will be a triumphant homecoming in 4th. Greg Biffle to the pits unexpectedly.
Yeah, he just came off of pit road, off of the racetrack, down on pit road like he's got a problem. Definitely got a problem.
A lot of times right after a restart, after a pit stop, a vibration will bring you to pit road, especially at a place that has speeds like this.
That's when that driver's saying, "Are you sure y'all got all those lug nuts tight?"
But he's well going to go at least a lap down, if not more.
Pulled the tape off the radiator.
And of course, we talked about it earlier, the hotter temperatures, maybe he was just running too warm with water temperature.
Now watch Biffle at the bottom of the screen, number 60. Up there behind Shane Sieg, who was part of that accident.
Got loose right there. Got up a little bit in the loose stuff. Maybe they think taking a piece of tape off the nose will tighten him up a little bit, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely do that, but I don't know if I would have done that under green.
No, I think
the reason I would have done that under green is if my water temperature was starting to climb. Because he's over a lap down, about a lap and a half down.
He may have thought he had a tire going down, and he gets on pit road and realizes he doesn't. And so they come to pit road, they stop just to do a little, to pull that piece of tape off.
00 Jason Leffler, the Haas Automation Chevy, trying to climb back up through after being one of 4 cars involved in that caution. And just ahead of him, driving for Tommy Baldwin in the 6, one for New York's Paul Wolfe.
And that's actually his last race in this car. Tommy Baldwin, they're going through several drivers. Their next race at Texas will be with the, I think the Silver Crowns racer, Tracy Hines. Mark McFarland's going to drive some races. I think they're just going through a selection of drivers trying to pick who's going to drive this car maybe full time in 2005.
Let's check with Dick Berggren.
Temperatures were going up on that number 60 car of Greg Biffle, Mike, and that's why he pitted. They were worried about that engine. Remember what happened 2 weeks ago at Rockingham, running like Jack the Bear right out front, and they lost one. They didn't want to take any chances at all today, so they pitted just to be sure they didn't hurt that motor.
Yeah, I mean, Dick, you'd have to, you know, the water temperature would have to be climbing significantly again to make that green flag stop to pull tape off.
You know, they probably said under caution there that how's everything look, how's your gauges look, which crew chief does. He probably didn't realize how hot that thing was till he got back racing again.
Fifth place battle here. 27 is Johnny Sauter, one of Jim Sauter's 11 kids from Necedah, Wisconsin, several of whom have had great careers in NASCAR. Johnny, by his move to Nextel Cup this season, will be the most accomplished of them, and quite a number of Cup races for the Mueller brothers and other teams in a very long career.
You know, but once again, as we ride with David Stremming in the 32 car back in 6th position, this is another one of those racetracks he's never raced at. How good is this kid going to be when he goes back to some of these racetracks for the second, third time?
And Darrell, that seems to be the one key ingredient that owners are looking for.
Really bad.
Is it driving anywhere, or is it just getting vibrating bad?
Vibrating really bad.
That's 32 David Stremme, and I say that they look for the drivers who can adapt to racetracks they've never been to. Jeannie?
Well, guys, we heard it on the radio right there. David Stremme radioing in saying there is a vibration. It's getting worse and worse. And just moments ago, he came on and said, look, I really want to pit. This is not good.
No, I mean, these guys are entering these corners at the end of these straightaways, 180 plus miles per hour.
As long as you're there, that's all. They said nothing's going to fall off, so I'm thinking it's equalizing what it's doing, but try to give us a few more laps if you can.
All right, what he's telling him, they think he has an equalized tire. These tires run an interliner. It's a safety tire within the tire, and it has an air pressure of its own. And what happens, those air pressures, if for some reason they leak across and the air pressures become the same, that's an equalized tire. And Darrell, the way Dale Earnhardt described it to me, it's shaking my fillings out of my teeth.
Exactly.
Now, he will pit as Greg Biffle pitted because in the big picture of running the entire...
Drive fine. We better pit here next 2 laps.
Running the entire Busch Series season. They'll give up some here to try to get a finish and get as many points as they can because they're running the whole season.
Yeah, and you don't want to sit out there until something happens. Right. So you got to bring it to pit road. And you leave it up to the driver, which I always hated, because you come to pit road and you go back out and you say, what did they find? What did you find? It says, nothing.
Yeah, isn't that the worst thing a crew chief can say? Can you stand it?
Yeah.
Until the next pit stop. Dave Blaney, 31. The two of Ron Hornaday battle side by side, and they got lots of company.
This is a battle back there for about 19th. And yes, they do. Billy Parker there in the 66 car, the yellow car. That's the car owned by Rusty Wallace. Barry Dobson, the team manager, making their first Busch Series start, running a limited schedule. Johnny Benson in the 1 car.
Catfish Parker. They call him Catfish. I asked Barry Dotson, the general manager, where I said, is that because he's a bottom sucker?
Oh. It's because his dad's a famous fisherman, I hope.
Oh, that's what it is.
Stremme's going to pit.
Yeah, he couldn't take it any longer, which is, I think, very wise. He just got to hope now, Larry, that's like always, that maybe they'll cycle through. Jeannie.
Well, this is maybe one of the worst kept secrets of the track because we've been talking about it now for a couple of minutes. Here comes the 32 car of David Stremme as Larry Mack so eloquently explained the equalized tire problem. So the plan right now is to just get him 4 tires, 4 good tires, he hopes, and of course fuel to get right back out on the track.
Yeah, I mean, they have no choice, Jeannie. They have to change 4 tires because there's no way for that driver to tell which one may be equalized.
Now, the other unscheduled stop was that of Greg Biffle. Jeff?
Mike, what I've been seeing from down here is the fact that Greg Biffle stopped to get that engine problem took care of. He's at least in position to get the pardon in case a caution does come out. He's been making his way back up through the field, so he's got a good race car. So this could have been a good move on his crew chief's part to keep that engine running because he's still got a strong ride.
56 complete, 144 laps to go.
How about this battle for the lead we got here right now? Bobby Hamilton Jr., the 25, Martin Truex in the 8, and right there behind them, lurking in the 87 car, Joe Nemechek, come from deep in the field. We have us a battle now, boys.
Darrell, for as little experience on the big tracks as Truex has, you'd never know it.
No, but all the drivers I talk to, whether it's Ruderman that drives our truck or whomever it is, when they've never seen these racetracks, you say, how do you do that? They say, they give me good cars. They make it easy for me. I don't have to go out there and worry about the car. Just go out there and worry about finding the line.
Truex has finished second in 3 of his last 4 Busch Series races, tracks he's never been to.
I know what's on his mind. He wants to change that stat today.
Yeah. Bobby Hamilton Jr. with a narrow margin over Joe Nemechek now in NASCAR Busch Racing on FX, presented by YJ Stinger. Welcome back to Las Vegas, where Joe Nemechek has taken the lead from Bobby Hamilton Jr., who was out front for 58 laps. Nemechek's now led 4. Martin Truex Jr. to second. The rejuvenating moment of the race. Brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. Nemechek, who started 18th today, to the lead.
He's been coming all day long. That caution let him make up just a little bit of ground to get up there.
Now Martin Truex Jr. also got past Hamilton Jr. for second place. What do you think, Darrell? Is there a problem with Bobby's car?
Well, it looked like it wasn't running down the straightaway quite like it had been earlier, but right there, that's just pure handling. Looked like maybe the handles come off the car as well, and that will affect your straightaway speed. You can't get off the corner quite as good. Looked like you got a problem going down the straightaway. The car's definitely backed up, and I'm sure on the next pit stop they can probably put it back like it was when they started the race.
You know, I know we documented about Joe Nemechek being the winner here last year, but he has also had 4 top 5 finishes in Busch races here. He always runs well.
He's the second biggest mover. Remember, Randy LaJoie had to go to the back due to an engine change. There's the Jana King Chevy for LaJoie.
And that's a good run. I mean, yeah, he qualified 29th, and as we talked at the top of the show, they changed engines this morning, had to start 43rd, and he's moved up there to 16th. So these guys have been working their way to the front. They need them another caution to make up some ground.
Running a solid 4th, Kyle Busch in his hometown race.
Yeah, just quietly sitting there, Mike. He's been right there in the top 3, 4, 5, and doing a nice job right now.
Dick Berggren.
Yeah, and he's got a new nickname as a result of his brother's appearance on our pre-race show. He is now the Shrub. And the car is running pretty well. He just radioed into the crew and said it's a little bit loose off and a little bit tight in the center. But on the last pit stop, they did make it better. They've got some more pit stops to go today. And who knows, this 18-year-old resident of Las Vegas, Nevada could have a big day here and win this thing. Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, David Green has been fighting a tight condition. Jason, you guys are running 7th right now. What did you adjust on the race car? What is David saying?
We just did a little bit of air pressure for some grip, you know, and just a little wedge in, just trying to adjust on it just a little bit at a time. It's just been so finicky here since we unloaded off the truck. A little adjustment will go a long way. So right now he's not complaining about anything. That 9 car got up behind him a while ago and made him a little loose getting in the corner and got by us, but we'll be in good shape.
David Green running 7th.
Such a fine line here, Mike. You know, and that's a big challenge for the crew chief as well, is not over-adjusting that race car. If you're a little loose, you just don't want to jump the fence and then make it too tight.
What I like about David Green, he sits right there and stays in the top 10. At the end of the day, he gets him a good finish. He's a championship contender.
Joe Nemechek with a 2.8-second lead. You're watching the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by YJ Stinger.
Glad to have you with us. NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by YJ Stinger, and Joe Nemechek from Lakeland, Florida, with his mom Martha in the pits as usual, has the lead, with Martin Truex Jr. out of New Jersey running 2nd. Bobby Hamilton Jr. currently 3rd, although he jumped to the early lead in this race, actually led the first 34 laps before having to pit during a caution. Bobby Hamilton Jr. with Mike Bliss on the pole, establishing the early pace for this race. Lap 33, the first caution, a 3-car wreck, Jeff Hammond.
Yeah, Donnie Neuenberger gets loose and gets hit by Shane Sieg, who slides backwards and is hit again by Jason Leffler and Stacy Compton, bringing out that first caution, and Shane Sieg's day ended early.
And then on lap 62, Nemechek taking the lead from Bobby Hamilton. And Kyle Busch, as mentioned moments ago, keeping an eye on the Las Vegas younger brother, 18-year-old younger brother of Kurt Busch. Currently in the hunt here. He's been steady 5th. He's been running 4th for much of the day. And as we check out some of the other folks, certainly Casey Kane, a story in the 38 car. Back a little bit in the 66 car. Billy Parker, that's the Rusty Wallace-owned Busch car.
Yeah, they came out here, tested back in January. Things are really going well for that team right now. You see a picture right there. Rusty's up on the roof today, helping me kind of like commentate. And I guess you're going to direct his team around a little bit. But he's got the whole Wallace family working with this team. His son Steven as well as Greg is part of this operation.
Is that the Roger Penske position that Rusty knows well?
That's exactly right.
And Rusty excited with his sons, his own Steven and Greg, one day maybe getting in the seat behind when Billy Parker gives it up.
Well, right now Greg is kind of like training, a manager in training, while Steven is a driver in training, working with veteran crew chief Barry Dotson and that whole team over right there. But right now Billy Parker is doing an excellent job coming back up through the pack right now.
All right, and Parker currently running in the Rusty Wallace car 16th. Let's check in on the 25 car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Dick Bergman has more, currently running 4th. Dick?
Well, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I just dropped another spot. Harold Holly is his crew chief. What's going on with the car, Harold?
It's tightened up on us a little bit. That set there seems to be a little tighter than what we started on. We made some adjustments to free it up for the racetrack, but it's tightened up pretty good. So we'll try to go back to our first set whenever we put on this next one to make an adjustment from there.
Okay, Hamilton fast early. He's dropped back.
Ford dominated the first 50-some laps of this race, but now it's 2 Chevys and a Pontiac atop the leaderboard. And Hamilton Jr. is 7 seconds behind race leader Joe Nemechek.
He continues to lose ground as he just moved back to the 4th position. You know, just following up on Billy Parker in that 66 car, a lot of people has asked, why the 66 number? I mean, that's the number that Rusty Wallace ran for years in the ASA series, and also when he came into the Busch series back in the late 70s, early 80s, he ran the 66 number.
What was his car? It was Nicky, gosh, I can't think of the last name that owned a lot of those cars for Rusty. Prejean?
Prejean or something like that.
Yeah, I believe so. Johnny Benson in the 1, moving past Tim Fedowa for 19th position. Now, Benson's a former champ of this series. He and James Finch will run all the Busch races this year and a dozen or so of the Nextel Cup races, including tomorrow here in Las Vegas. Dave Blaney trying to track Benson up through as we go back up with leader Joe Nemechek at 81 laps. He has a 4-second lead on Martin Truex Jr.
And look where he's running. I mean, he's got those left side tires all the way below the white line. That car is really sucked to the bottom of the racetrack.
For second place, Johnny Sauter. On the inside, on the right of your screen, Martin Truex Jr., the New Jersey driver who has been so impressive driving for Chance 2.
Clear high, clear high.
Hermie Sadler. TI is Treasure Island, one of the Las Vegas hotel casinos. Sadler will also have a car in tomorrow's Cup race driven by Carl Long, who is spotting for Hermie today.
Well, what happened was he tried to get in the pits the lap before. He missed the pit, so he had to go all the way around and come back in. Looks like they may be going under the hood.
Sadler will fall to 33rd place, 3 laps down. Some of Kyle Petty's Nextel Cup crew helping out Sadler. And at 83 laps, Joe Nemechek now enjoys a 4.6-second lead over Johnny Sauter. Welcome back to the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by YJ Stinger. Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s Ford led 58 laps. Steve Grissom, when the first caution came out, stayed out an extra lap before pitting, so he's led 1. And Joe Nemechek's now been out front for 28 circuits. Johnny Sauter second, Martin Truex Jr. And the first of the lead lap pit stops has occurred under green. Johnny Benson in and out for fuel and tires. Matt Yoakum.
Mike, an impressive day for 27-year-old J.J. Yaley. The car a little tight, but it has held station with that tight condition. It hasn't gotten worse. Now, during practice, he and his spotter, Curtis Markham, worked on his entry hot on the pit road so he wouldn't, smoke the tires coming in, and he also wouldn't be too slow. He will have his first green flag opportunity in about another 10 to 12 laps, and his spotter has reminded him, remember what we learned in practice. Let's put it to use.
Getting into that window for green flag stops. Benson's been in. Ron Hornaday was lapped and then came in and made a green flag stop. Now Kenny Wallace is in, so is Ashton Lewis Jr.
You know what's going on with these guys right here is they are getting lapped or about to get lapped, and we're getting close to that time for a pit stop. These guys are going ahead and trying to get to pit road, get 4 tires, get adjustments, and this set of tires is free. Those 3 sets only go against you under caution, but you're going to go a lap and a half down by pitting under green here, and that's with no mistakes.
And getting on pit road it's for a rookie is one of the most difficult things you got to do, because you come down here into turn 4, right in the middle of the corner. You've got to slow that car down to 55 miles an hour to get on pit road, and if you haven't been accustomed to doing that, you know how we talk about all the time ins and outs. Think of the amount of time you can lose if you don't come in here hot enough, fast enough, and leave quick enough.
Casey Atwood's been in. Billy Parker is now at pit road, Darrell, and Donnie Neuenberger back in. These are only Parker is among those is a lead lap car.
I tell you what, a driver and a group that needs a tip of the hat. Stacy Compton in the 59 car. Remember, he was involved in that wreck back there on the backstretch coming off lap 32. Come to pit road to make several repairs. A great job by Jeff Chandler and that group, and now he's back up there to 15th position. So they repaired that car well, kept him on the lead lap. Looks like he's going to make his green flag stop.
Yeah, he's on pit road, and of course last year they were racing Chevrolets. This year they've switched to the Ford Taurus, mainly because they were able to get a lot of support from the Ford people.
Also, Jason Schuler is in. Robbie Gordon making pit stops. Those are lead lap cars.
Yeah, they now have Robert Yates engines in their cars as well. Stacy Compton and his teammate Robert Presley.
Looked like a long stop for Billy Parker. There might have been a little trouble on the left side of that Rusty Wallace owned car. We'll check on that. Here's Hamilton Jr. on pit road. He dominated the early part of the race as Steve Grissom comes out. Hamilton comes in. Dick?
Well, they're going to try to adjust that car, see if they can get the handling back on it, Mike. He's dropped several spots since leading this event and being so stout early on at the drop of the green flag. Crew on the wall, ready to go. 4 tires and fuel and make the proper adjustments. Let's see how they do. Mike Goins carrying front tires. Mark Kennelly's carrying the back. Joe Schlingerland, he's got the front end over the wall. Steve Berg.
Joe Nemechek on pit road. They will drop the air pressure in the left side tires. Dan Chiavari and Dwayne Bigger changing tires on the 87 car. No other adjustments for Joe Nemechek.
So here they all come. Michael Waltrip's in. Jason Keller. Mike Wallace. Leader comes in. Everybody else wants in.
They're having a terrible time. A bunch of them are trying to get on pit road.
Now, Dave Blaney in the 31 car came to pit road. He did enter pit road past the commit cone, so I'm going to be interested to see if they make that call.
He was lucky to even get on pit road. He was just about to go out through the grass.
Yaley and Sauter, Blaney, now Truex and Green are in. Matt?
A tough entry for J.J. Yaley. Had to go around the outside of Jason Keller. It messed up his entry into the pit. It's going to be close if they can barely get the jack up on the left side. A chassis adjustment and air pressure adjustment to try to fix that loose off condition for J.J. Yaley.
Well, it's a good thing that the 27 car of Johnny Sauter is sponsored by Kleenex, because the poor guy's been crying most of this race about that chip problem. There's nothing they can do right now. He's loose in, tight up, tire pressure adjustments. He's out. Dick?
Martin Truex in to make his pit stop. He asked the crew to make the car turn better. Slow, very slow on the left rear wheel of Truex's car, and that will cost him.
David Green, Robert Presley have been in. Here's Kevin Harvick to pit road. Trouble down in turn 1. A big blow up.
Man, there's oil everywhere.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Boy.
Now Matt Kenseth has picked up the lead. As they come to
going down in there on the outside right there's a lot of oil down in that turn.
Now remember Rockingham a week ago in the Nextel Cup race. The field is frozen right now. Even these cars on pit road, as long as you can get off pit road, maintain pit road speed, the field is frozen right now.
And Kevin Harvick did just that. He was on pit road at the instant of caution. So he will come out with fresh tires, while some of these drivers that have not pitted, like Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, Tim Fedewa, Randy LaJoie, are still out there, and these drivers have not pitted. Let's show you the commit cones and the commit line that Darrell and Larry were talking about. And Johnny Sauter.
When they come down off the racetrack, there's a little banking. You hit that flat.
There's that line, and there's Blaney coming in from out of bounds.
In the 31 car, he definitely was past the commit cones when he came onto pit road.
Now, we talked about Kevin Harvick. He did come down pit road, but he did not stop. He chose to drive through and stay on the lead lap.
Which is probably a good move. That's just making it a little safer right there. Now you can come to pit road, you're still on the lead lap, and get your 4 fresh tires.
And that is just what Jeff Burton, or excuse me, I'm sorry. Jeff used to drive that car. In fact,
pork chop.
I guess he will drive that car again. All the Roush drivers are going to take turns in that, or most of them.
Matt Kenseth gets his 4 tires. Dick Berger.
Well, Kenseth got really lucky on that deal because he was going to come in just as the caution flag came out. Right now, he's on his way down pit road. Says it takes him a long time for new tires to come in. He likes the car better on old tires. They're counting him down now, 3, 2, 1. Kenseth in his pit right now. Rambo Liberati leading the pit crew. They've asked for a drink of water for Kenseth. It's a hot day. A lot of brake dust out of the right front tire when they hauled it off. That's a suggestion that Kenseth indeed is using a good bit of brake going into the corners here. Just about done. Crew nice stop so far. No errors, no problems. A little bit slower than they might like. Kenseth out of here.
You know, though, he's talking about how lucky Kenseth is. How lucky do you have to be to do that every time you turn around? I mean, this cat catches the cautions absolutely perfectly, almost week in and week out.
Let me tell you who's lucky. Dave Blaney, because they just posted him with a black flag for coming on to pit road past the commit line. Just think if he'd had to come to pit road for that penalty under green. There's the luckiest man on this caution right here, Dave Blaney in the 31.
He can make that penalty stop under caution and not lose a lap. So we're under caution for the second time in Las Vegas. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Here's our TGI Fridays trivia question of the day. Who was the last driver to win his first NASCAR Busch Series pole and race in the same weekend?
Who was the last driver to do it? I'll just say Mark Martin.
That's because the answer to every Busch trivia question is Mark Martin. No! Jeff Fuller.
Jeff Fuller.
At Bristol, Tennessee. 1996, he went on to become the Busch Series Rookie of the Year.
And he was a new father that very same weekend.
That's right. Here's our pole sitter, Mike Bliss in the Rockwell Chevy.
There goes the 60 car.
And Mike is running 14th. Matt Kenseth is our leader as we cross the halfway point of the Samstown 300. Strange things happen when you have a caution flag in the middle of green flag pit stops. Let's play Where's Matt? He's back here somewhere, and he's the race leader as we get set to go back to green at lap 102 complete. We're going to hold for a lap.
But go further. Finish the story.
Well, there's 16 cars on the lead lap, but 12 of them are right up there behind the pace car on the tail end, 11, tail end of the lead lap.
And then Biffle
got the pardon.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't just get a pardon, he got full restitution.
Yes.
Because he's now at the end of the line, which instead of making him the last car on the lead lap, makes him fifth.
So he went from 16th to 5th because he got the free pass.
The free pass.
We're going to have a 2-hour special on this to explain it all to you. But it is very confusing when the caution comes out in the midst of green flag pit stops. There's Biffle. He goes around past the pace car to the tail end of the line, which now happens to be 5th.
And that's a question we get asked all the time. How does the leader of the race not start up behind the pace car? And what happens is those guys that did not pit, like Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, Tim Fedewa, Kevin Harvick, and now Greg Biffle, they did not pit under green flag. Well, when they come to pit road under caution, the guys that pitted under green, they stay out. So that puts them on the tail end of the lap in front of the leader. But let me tell you something that could play out in this race. We have 97 laps to go. The guys that did not pit under green, like those 5 guys, Kenseth, Kane, Fedewa, Harvick, Biffle, they only have 1 set of tires left. Those guys that changed tires under green, they have 2 sets of tires left.
So Matt Kenseth will restart as the leader. There are 19 cars on the lead lap, but he's about 16th in the overall line. We'll sort it out for you in a minute. Getting set for the restart. 19 lead lap cars here at Las Vegas. Green flag, and there's your leader, number 9, Matt Kenseth, in the midst of traffic because all the cars that are on the tail end of the lead lap, because you can't pass the pace car, line up in front of him behind that pace car, and now Kenseth's got to battle his way through. Kevin Harvick got into the speedy dry that was put down from Casey Atwood's engine. That's what brought out that last caution, and swirled around in turn 1, as did several other cars. Now the big fight is for those drivers to try to stay on the lead lap. The drivers from 6th through 19th position.
And the way they do that definitely is get a caution quickly. Then they'd be back all the way around behind the leader on the lead lap.
Outside.
Hamilton Jr. is one of them in the 25. The driver who led in the early going.
Clear.
Yeah, our leader, Matt Kenseth, in the 9, he actually restarted the race back in 12th position.
Now he's getting passed by Jason Leffler, trying to get one of his 2 laps back. And look at the crowd in front of the race leader.
But you know, Darrell, Matt Kenseth is a smart racer. He's leading the race. He don't want to get up there and press the issue. Let some of those guys have their lap back. I'm not going to get up there and press the issue and tear my race car up.
No, one of the things I like about him is he hardly ever beats himself. I mean, they talk about lucky when the caution comes out and lucky for this and lucky for that. It's just good preparation.
Rookie Kyle Busch battling Hamilton Jr. This is for 11th point, and for the lead, Casey Kane, the black 38, comes around Matt Kenseth. Kane, the pole sitter for tomorrow's Cup race.
I think Matt he's just boxed. He doesn't have any, he can't go anywhere, and he's getting, you know, he picks the wrong line here and he gets passed.
But Darrell, what a turnaround that crew has made for this 38 car Casey Kane. Remember, Jeannie Zelasco talked about not that many laps ago, he was on pit road unhooking a rear sway bar. He was just about to go a lap down at one point.
Well, that's some of that adjustability that you've got to have in your race car to make the proper adjustments or have the opportunity to during the race.
Big pack out in front of the leaders, all scrambling to stay on the lead lap.
The one car, Johnny Benson, came to the pit road here
to take right side tires.
Share of problems.
Robbie Gordon, 55, known as a tough guy to get by, and he's going to try to stay on the lead lap here in front of Casey Kane.
Because he'd been running in about the top 10 all day long until he made that green flag stop before the caution came out. Robbie going to run about 25, 26 of these Busch Series races, and there he's trying to stay on the lead lap by Casey Kane in the 38. But I tell you, that 38 car is working good right now.
They've done a good job of getting the car adjusted for the conditions.
And the hole closed up. Leffler went to the bottom, and that kept Matt Kenseth from keeping close contact with Casey Kane.
Now, Robbie Gordon's next task is to try to stay the first car lap down, where if we get a caution, he can get the free pass, just like Randy LaJoie did the last time.
So the cars on that tail end of the lead lap situation are Greg Biffle, Joe Nemechek, Johnny Sauter, Martin Truex Jr., David Green, Kyle Busch, Hamilton, Stremme, Compton, Waltrip, and Keller.
We got to report Johnny Benson in the one car did take his car to the garage. See Kevin Harvick in the 21 car right there. Now, right now, he's running in the 3rd position as far as the race. And right behind him now is Randy LaJoie. The 82 car is up to 4th. Remember, he started this race at the back of the field after an engine change.
Had a pretty good car there, and then, of course, he got the break on the caution.
Back at the front of the race, but not the front of the pack. 38 Casey Kane. Looking back at him from Kenny Wallace.
Really hadn't taken Kenseth too long. He's right back in the yellow car behind Kane to close the gap.
Well, I think it's like we were talking, Darrell. He just felt like, hey, I'm not going to push the issue right here, right now. Something's going to happen up in front of me.
Casey Kane at lap 40 was running 32nd. In 75 laps, he's come from there to the lead.
With one little minor adjustment, just pulling the pin out of that rear sway.
I bet he don't think it was minor, though, the way that car's driving now.
Only 2 caution flags so far, and the one near halfway for Casey Atwood's engine, after much of the field had pitted under green, has caught the field in a bit of a crunch here, with Casey Kane trying to work his way through a bunch of cars on the tail end of the lead lap. 11 of them now. Jeannie?
Well, Casey getting help this week from interim crew chief Jamie Jones, and I stress the interim as I was talking to Jamie this morning. He said Casey got so excited yesterday, he kind of spilled the beans to the media that Jamie Jones was his new crew chief. It has not been officially decided yet, but they're saying if all goes well this weekend, then he will hang around. So far, so good, guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's been working all year long, really, without a crew chief. Tim Shutt from Mike Bliss's team went over there over the winter. Through January testing, they just felt like things were not clicking. So Tim Shutt left there, and they really don't have a crew chief right now. It's been crew chief by committee.
Jamie?
Can't have 2 bosses.
Of course, Casey Kane is trying to run both the entire series, the Busch Series, all the races, as well as the Nextel Cup Series. A lot of racing. And I think that even makes it more important that he has a crew chief he can depend over there in that Busch Series.
You got to have a go-to guy there. You know, the driver's got to have somebody that he can go to and say, I need this, I need that. You can't go to a group of guys and tell them. Hammond and I went through that a little bit when I went up to juniors. If Tim Brewer and that bunch all left, and Junior said, well, I'm not going to have any more high-buck crew chiefs. And first thing you know, though, I said, man, who am I supposed to call? You know, every time I call, somebody different answers the floor. Your brother Fred answered last week.
Matt Kenseth.
By himself, nobody even close.
Matt Kenseth right back at it. On the hunt for the lead against Casey Kane in the 38.
Looking in.
Now we're listening to 38 spotter, and what he's telling Casey
Clear, all clear.
is Matt Kenseth is behind you. He's quicker, but he's by himself. When he goes by you, you don't have to worry about somebody else following him. He's by himself.
So Casey Kane is right now running 2 races, one to keep Matt Kenseth behind him, and another to put a
Just
lap.
a heads up, JJ. Looking in, looking in.
Another to put a lap on Jason Keller, and the other
there,
is just
inside
in
and
front.
nose, inside. Inside. Clear behind.
Casey's not ready to give up on it just yet, running that high groove. That's where it kind of prevails, though, Darrell, is off the corner.
Clear behind, all clear. JJ, NASCAR just announced new leader, the 38, 1 lap ago. He should have had the leader a long time ago, just for your note.
And what happens over the scanners, NASCAR will always call out who has assumed the lead of the race, and their concern is there that they didn't get credit for leading some laps they led before he took the lead.
I think that was just a catch-up announcement. They have Casey Kane on the board as leading 11 laps. So Matt Kenseth goes back out front. He's now led 17 laps today. Kane's Dodge in second, then the Chevrolets of Harvick, LaJoie, and Fedewa. Then a bunch of cars on the tail end of the lead lap headed up by Joe Nemechek. And it will take another caution flag to cycle this field back to what we'd call normal, where the leader is lined up right behind the pace car. Dick Bertrand.
Mike Kalanoff is Matt Kenseth's spotter, and Kalanoff and I got together in the trailer this morning and had some conversation. And Kalanoff said, and he has watched Kenseth probably more than anybody else, said his line at this racetrack is different than anyone else. And Kalanoff also said no one is better at hitting his marks lap after lap after lap than Matt Kenseth. And now that Kenseth's in the clear, he's in a position to open up some distance between himself and the rest of the world.
Of course, in the clear is relative, because up ahead of him he has fellows like this. Kyle Busch in the 5, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25. They're not that far in front of the race leader. They're trying to stay on the lead lap.
They're trying to stay on the lead lap and still race each other too, and that gets kind of tough sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you got the spotter hollering at you, hey, the leader's coming, and you know, you're pedaling as hard as you can go.
Let's show you the gap to Kenseth. And there's your leader working on the Miller number 22 of Jason Keller. 123 laps complete in the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by YJ Stinger. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Aaron's do the math. Bobby Hamilton Jr. has led the most laps today, followed by Joe Nemechek. Both of them are on the tail end of the lead lap, while Matt Kenseth continues to build his number of laps led. Casey Kane and Johnny Sauter and Steve Grissom have also been out front for a lap or more.
Guys, what I see Matt Kenseth in this 9-car do, I think we talked about this earlier after the restart. He knew he didn't want to use his equipment up, use those tires up when he was back there in the middle of the field. He let things sort out. Now he's pulled off to almost a 2-second lead over Casey Kane in the 38.
All right, watch the top of the board between Fido and Nemechek. That jump in the interval is because from Nemechek on back, all of these cars going across the crawl down through Michael Waltrip are on the tail end of the lead lap, just out in front of Matt Kenseth.
Almost 2/3 of a lap down.
Right. Now Randy LaJoie got the free pardon at the end of that caution period, which put him at the tail end of the line, but not the last car on the lead lap. The way that the rule is implemented, you go to the tail end of the lead lap line, and LaJoie, in that case it was 5th or 6th. He's now up to 4th, and his teammate Tim Fidoa up to 5th in the number 12.
And the irony is their teammate Casey Atwood's the one that caused all this mess when his engine let go in the 14 car.
I don't know who's on 3rd. And here's Matt on pit road.
Well, the bad news for Armando Fitz, your car brought out the caution. The good news, it helped your 2 other cars.
Yeah, that's a hard part when you have, you know, the 3 cars and everything. But Randy's doing a great job in the Janet King Chevy, and Tim's doing a great job in the Supercut Chevy. And hopefully this thing will go green the rest of the way, and we can come out of here with 2 top 5s. It'll make up for Casey's bad luck.
And what Tim Fidoa did, that crew in the 12 car, right before we went back racing, they came to pit road topped off with fuel. I don't know that it bought him a lot as much as these tires give up, but he didn't lose anything because he was able to move right back into the top 5.
Well, they just learned from what they saw. This caution came out. If you could stay out there a couple of extra laps, like Kenseth did, might pay off. So they're just trying to be sure that they're covering every base.
Matt?
Actually, Larry, he had to come back in because under their pit stop, they missed a lug on the left front. And inspectors saw it, told them they were going to have to come back in before the field went back to green. So they came in at the last possible second, hit the lug, and topped off.
They did top off with fuel. So, yeah, I mean, they got their lug tight, topped off with fuel. A few more laps, they can run.
Now, Matt Kenseth, the number 9, our leader. The Pennzoil cars opened up a 3.7-second gap on Casey Kane. There's Kane in the black car. Kevin Harvick, you're riding with the 3rd place car of Harvick now. He's 5.2 seconds back of the lead.
34.06.
Guys, another thing, we keep talking about the pit situation. Coming up here in a little bit, you know, we're going to have to make another green flag stop. For these guys that are on tail in the lead lap, I know for a lot of them, they'd like to see Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, Kevin Harvick, Randy LaJoie, Tim Fidoa, all the guys that are already on the lead lap pit first, so they can definitely know that when they make that pit stop, they won't get caught by being caught back on pit road again.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, whether you pitted under green or whether you pitted on that caution, we're about 20 to 25 laps max of that next pit stop. And should we stay green, that would be the final pit stop.
Joe Nemechek, who was leading this race when the round of green flag stops began, right now is in 6th place, just ahead of Johnny Sauter's 27. There are 14 cars now on the lead lap with 136 of 200 complete. Today, the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by YJ Stinger, 140 of 200 laps complete, and a huge crowd on hand at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 22,000 new seats with the Earnhardt Terrace that you see coming into view from the right of your screen, and they are pretty well filled up today and will be tomorrow. What a great crowd.
It really is. And of course, you know, this city is just really bubbling with prosperity right now, Mike. I mean, casinos are full and the streets are full of people. These grandstands are packed. There's 140-some thousand going to be here tomorrow. What an exciting time to be in Las Vegas.
They're saying that tomorrow will be the 2nd largest event weekend in Las Vegas history, second only to the Super Bowl as far as folks that are in town for the event. Nextel Cup racing has really taken Vegas by storm, and why not? You can get a cheap flight here from anywhere, and there are plenty of hotel rooms, and you don't lack for things to do here, not 24 hours a day.
No, you really don't. And the city has just embraced this racetrack over the last couple of 3 years here, and they've really gone with traffic patterns. You can get in and out here a little easier than what we were used to. Really going well. Plus, what about the weather?
Oh, the weather's been perfect. As Michael Waltrip drops a lap to our race leader, Matt Kenseth, in the Pennzoil number 9. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, with Jeff Emmett here in the Hollywood Hotel, just noticing, well, Kevin Harvick just moved up there into the second spot, but it was, here we go again, a little flashback 2 weeks ago with the 1/100th of a second when Matt Kenseth held off Casey Kane. Kane, although a rookie, hanging right there with the defending Cup of Points champ here in this race today.
You know, we talk a lot about confidence, and it seems like all of a sudden Casey Kane has just found a ton of it. Having a guy like Ray Evernham supporting you and believing in you, then coming to a race where you've just barely missed getting your first victory, coming right to the next race, sitting on the pole for tomorrow's race, but coming back here in this Busch race and making another really strong showing, trying to capture his second Busch race here at Las Vegas.
Kane in the 38 car, Matt Kenseth in the 9 car, who's going to rotate, you know, Mike pointed out earlier with Mark Martin, Jeff Burton for Roush Racing or Pennzoil in this particular car, but Kenseth will probably run about 13 Busch races overall this year. He was a little cranky. I saw him yesterday concerned about the Cup car and even kind of running well today, but so far so good.
Yeah, this is kind of a trying situation here for somebody like Matt. He's been used to running his own car all this time. Now he steps into the Pennzoil car. He's got Tony Liberati, who's a veteran crew chief, but, you know, trying to get acclimated to all these new folks he's not really used to working with can be trying. And he told me, he said, look, when I run Busch races, I want to have fun. And right now, I'd say he's having a ton of it.
And with, what, 55 laps to go, we might have another, if Kane hangs around and Kenseth, and there's a lot that can happen over those laps, but we might be looking at another last-second finish.
Yeah, as you see right now, final pit stops right here, or a pit stop right now on the 2 car here for the problem maybe, but the final pit stop is definitely going to be a situation that's going to determine the outcome of this race.
Now let's go back upstairs. Mike?
Well, this is a tough one for Ron Hornaday on the right side of your screen. He tried to come in 1 lap ago, but locked up the brake and slid through the cones and missed the entrance to pit road. Didn't go through the commit line, so he had to come around again. And Darrell, we talked about this, how tough it is entering pit road.
Yeah,
Here comes Hornaday.
And when you drop down on that flat, it unloads the chassis in the car, and the car gets loose with you. And you've got no alternative. It's dirty, sandy down there. You got no alternative but to chase it either out in the grass or take it around one more time.
Now out on the track, problems for our young 18-year-old Kyle Busch in the 5. Watch him as Greg Biffle comes around him, gets a little air off that spoiler maybe.
He pulled him right around, didn't he, Mike?
Almost.
I've looked up at that 5 car a lot this weekend. He's been that way too, so he's got some practice at saving it.
So Ron Hornaday drops a couple of laps with that miscue and his green flag stop. Johnny Benson, 23 laps down, looks like he's headed for the garage, and we'll call it a day. Matt Kenseth is your leader by 8 seconds over Kevin Harvick. .48 laps to go for Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Casey Kane, Ford, Chevy, Dodge in the first 3 spots. LaJoie, Chevrolet, and Johnny Saunders Pontiac in 5th. Green flag stops have begun. Michael Waltrip, Stacy Compton, Billy Parker, and Kyle Busch on pit road.
And this should be their last stop should we stay under green. It's coming here with about 50 laps to go for these guys. Now what these guys hope, they don't want to get in the same situation that group got in a while ago. They need this thing to stay green and cycle through these green flag pit stops.
Dick Berggren.
Now the 5 car, Kyle Busch is in. He is making a pit stop. Going to take 4 tires on that car. Behind him, Billy Parker is also making a pit stop with steam pouring out of the engine on Parker's car. Busch now gone.
Pit road empty for the moment, but for Billy Parker. And we're into the window of pit stops. Robert Presley brings the Clorox Ford down pit road. And we still have now 11 cars on the lead lap. Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s just gone a lap down after dominating the first 50 laps. Jason Keller, pole sitter Mike Bliss, Robbie Gordon, Paul Wolfe, and Kyle Busch with his pit stop, each going laps down. Michael Waltrip, black flagged by NASCAR and coming back to pit road. He had just made a stop a lap ago. A lug nut missing on Michael Waltrip's Aaron Chevy.
And this is something that this is the most important thing that happens right now on these last green flag stops. No mistake by the pit crew like lug nuts, no mistake entering or leaving pit road by the driver.
And Billy Parker is coming back down pit road. Jason Keller is in. He was one of those tail end of the lead lap cars from the last restart.
I can't believe how
missed a lug nut.
I can't believe how much the cars are really slowed now. They're running on the 34-second bracket. I mean, they've lost a ton of time. The track is really slow right now. Of course, everybody's on the older tires. They got to come to the pits to get on fresh tires, but boy, the pace has really dropped off.
I want to be the last car on pit road or the lead lap cars, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't care about these guys that all that time, they're not going to catch up on new tires anyway.
Exactly. Matt Kenseth, he's sitting in the catbird seat. He has a 9-second lead. What he's saying, let them all pit, then I'll come to pit road. I don't want to take a chance of being on pit road, Dick Berggren, and having a caution burn me.
Yeah, and Matt Kenseth has been on the radio on 2 separate occasions asking Rambo Liberati, his crew chief, when to pit. He just is so interested in the pit, the exact lap in which he's going to pit. And finally, Liberati told him lap 167 or 168, and then you heard the rest. He didn't want to wait that long.
This guy is a thinking, hitting his marks kind of driver. I don't know, what would you say, Darrell? David Pearson kind of driver.
You hit the nail right on the head. That's what I was thinking. He just lays out. He's calm, he's cool, but he's always thinking ahead about what's next. What am I going to do next? What's the best move for me to win this race? And the biggest thing is, just like Pearson, he never beats himself.
Kyle Busch had a moment coming down the front straightaway, dropped all the way to the apron as he came by.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. These cats come in now, get fresh tires. They're picking up almost 3 seconds. So the closing rate is really big. You run up on 2 or 3 cars, you got to go, baby. You got to go around them.
Let me just tell you, had a big moment that tried to come to pit road but didn't make it was Joe Nemechek in the 87 car. He just all but missed the entrance and had to go back out on the racetrack. That's going to cost him some time, too.
Now, Darrell, these are veteran drivers. Hornaday, Nemechek making mistakes getting onto pit road.
But they're under a lot of pressure right now. Ins and outs, getting in, getting out. You can gain so much time right there, and they don't have time to give up because they're trying to stay ahead of Kenseth.
You see right there, I mean, it's slick coming on the pit road, and that commit cone really makes them have to commit early.
Steve Burns waiting on Nemechek.
And Mike, Joe Nemechek described his race car late in that run as a little bit tight or snug down in turn 3. Otherwise, he said it was good. But he did, as Larry Mack documented, have problems getting on pit road. Left side tires going on Joe Nemechek's Chevrolet. No other adjustments. And he has a clear shot down pit road.
Darrell, like you said,
he's got more problems.
But he's got a gas
problems. The problems just continue. Even though it fell out of the car, he took equipment away from his pit box. He's going to have to come back to pit road again.
And that's just the pressure and the frustration of knowing you had a car that could win this race, trying to make up time in places where it's really not possible.
Kevin Harvick in the 21 comes to pit road.
Harvick, the 3rd place car. Now let's show you what happened to Joe Nemechek first trying to get onto pit road.
We've been talking about those commit cones right there, the double cones right there. There you see him coming onto the apron. Too much speed. He can't get there. He can't get there. Now, he lost 4 seconds right there, but if he'd have come onto pit road, it would have cost him another penalty.
1 error by the driver, 1 by the pit crew. The signal to go, and they can't get the can out of the car.
And the hits just keep on coming.
12-gallon dump can. Spent. A lot of pit stops coming. Randy LaJoie is in. You saw Kevin Harvick come down pit road. That was 3rd and 5th place. J.J. Yaley's in. Mike Wallace, Eric McClure, each making a stop. There's Yaley. He's had a good day. Started out got a little off to a slow start, fell back in the pack, but he's given a good account of himself here.
But he did a really smart thing. He didn't force it. He knew he was in trouble. He kind of found him a place where you get comfortable.
Joe Nemechek serves his penalty.
And not happy either.
And here that black car is Casey Kane, the 2nd place car pitting. Jeannie?
Well, Casey saying, I need to get in better. It is very tight in the center off. They took the only rubber they had out of the rear earlier, so the best they can do, air pressure adjustments on the front, and then they're going to adjust the track bar on the back.
See, he unhooked that rear bar. Now, that made the car too loose, but you've got different springs in the back of the car when you have a rear bar hooked up. So with the rear bar unhooked, it's definitely going to tighten the car up, and over the long haul, must be tightening it up too much.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. is on pit road. So is Kenny Wallace and Jason Leffler. Now, how is Matt Kenseth's strategy playing out? That's Kenseth, our leader, the yellow car on the left of your screen. And he is 17 seconds ahead of the new second-place car of Johnny Sauter, 27 seconds ahead of Martin Truex, 30 seconds ahead of David Green. And because of pit stops, everybody else is a lap behind the number 9 car.
But now we're getting to the fuel window on these cars. They're going to have to come to pit road here in the next few laps, as I think we see Johnny Sauter in the 27 car, second place car. He comes to pit road for 4 tires. I have to believe Matt Kenseth will be coming here very quickly.
And he's coming this time.
Right now.
Here he comes.
No mistakes.
Nice and smooth down on the pit lane.
This fella's the Cup champion. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
And his Nextel Cup teammate Greg Biffle in the 60 car has just about to go, or just went a lap down, so he comes to pit road as well. Jenny, you were Johnny Sauter.
Yes, and he's feeling a bad vibration, guys, but he's not sure what it is, so he's going to bank on the fact maybe it is indeed the tires. So, of course, he's getting 4 tires, fuel, and air pressure adjustment in those tires as well. Dick?
Kenseth's on his way down pit road. Rambo Liberati had bidden to the crew one at a time and exhorted them, let's make this a perfect stop. No mistakes at all. There will be no changes in the car. Kenseth has just waved off a drink of water. They're not changing anything except 4 tires and throwing some fuel in this race car that is pinning out of the lead. Strong car. There goes the windshield tear off, and there goes...
David Green comes in. He's one of the contenders for his final stop of the day. Steve?
And Mikey momentarily stalled the car. Crew Chief Jason Ratcliffe, also the front tire changer. No adjustments to the 37.
So Martin Truex Jr., the rookie from New Jersey, assumes the lead. There he is in the Teresa and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chance 2 Motorsports number 8. Tim Fedewa is the new leader at lap 169. We've just gone under caution. Eric McClure in the 04 had been running a higher and higher line and finally ran out of racetrack down in turn number 1. Pounded up against the wall. You can see he's still running. He'll get to pit road and make repairs in the iCanLearn.com Chevrolet. But here's what happened.
But I'm going to tell you who really benefits from this is Tim Fedewa in the 12 car. Remember, Gary Cogswell, his crew chief, made the call to top him off with fuel. Why? Because they had to come back to pit road to put a lug nut. So their bad luck ended up being good fate, and there's their reaction.
So caution out for the 3rd time, and the field is collected up behind Tim Fedewa, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, pole sitter Mike Bliss, and Casey Kane.
But with 30 laps to go, he will have to come to pit road now under caution to use his final set of tires under caution. Remember all those guys that pitted under green, they still have sets of tires they can use.
So does it look like Compton's going to be the car first lap down? First
right
car
now,
lap
it looks to
down?
be Stacy Compton.
Yeah.
We'll double check that. We have 10 cars on the lead lap. NASCAR President Mike Helton will join us in a moment. First, we're going to have a look at these caution flag pit stops, which again should be the last stop of the day.
And there won't be many people come to pit road. It's only guys that have sets of tires used. We see Kevin Harvick in the 21 come to pit road. Mike Bliss in the 20. He's back on the lead lap. Casey Kane in the 38. So a lot of these guys electing to come get those 4 fresh tires knowing they'll be important.
Kenseth's back in. The 12's back in.
Here's Matt.
Timing is everything. Tim Fedewa's team was planning to pit the lap after the caution came out, so the caution, big break for them. They're going to try to tighten the car up a little bit. They don't want to over-adjust it because Tim said the car was loose, but they were worried more is because the tires were wearing out, not that the car was chassis loose, Dick.
Matt Kenseth also in, taking 4 tires under caution. This is his last set of the day. This was Kenseth's call, really. His crew chief, Rambo Liberati, said that he thought they could beat them all if they stayed out. Kenseth said, I'll do whatever you want. They talked it over and decided to do what the driver wanted, and they brought him in for 4 fresh ones.
Mike Helton joins us, the president of NASCAR. On the prior caution flag, a situation where the yellow came out in the midst of green flag pit stops, and a bit of a question as to the free pass, giving a driver back a lap who was the closest to the race leader 1 lap down.
Yeah, there was a couple of things that we learned from on that particular incident. First of all, we had identified the 60 car as the car that was the benefactor by error, but in the meantime we had given him his position or lap back on the racetrack. Once we determined that was the wrong benefactor, actually it should have been the 82 car, we asked the 60 to stop and let the pace truck pass him on the racetrack, and then in the meantime move the 82 in position. Because the caution came out in the middle of all the green flag stops that were going on, and the leader of the race was actually several cars back behind the pace car, and there were a lot of cars in the tail end of the lead lap ahead. When the 60 repositioned itself back behind the pace car, he actually stayed ahead of the leader and didn't get the complete lap back. The 82, when he moved, and the procedure is to start at the tail end of the longest line, when he did that, he leapfrogged over the positions of all the cars that were actually in front of the leader in the tail end of the lead lap. So there were two things that went wrong on us. Once we realized that, and the restart of the race had already taken place, we chose not to react to it, because anything we had done after that point would have either been too critical or too forgiving. And we make mistakes. We'll admit when we make mistakes. If we can fix them, we will. But there's a lot of times when it's easier just to let the race take its course, and understand the fact that if you're in this business long enough, sometimes you get breaks and sometimes you don't.
So the proper thing to have done, with the race leader positioned in the middle of the pack, would have been to move the free pass car instead of around the pace car, move him up in line to just in front of the race leader.
The benefactor, the free pass, the 82 should have gone at the back end of all the cars that were in the tail end of the lead lap, right in front of the leader.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
And then that would have had him in a proper spot on the racetrack in relation to everybody else that he was racing against.
Mike, we got so much going on under caution now. You know, with the freezing of field, and is everybody where they're supposed to be, and you got to get that under control. And we got the free pass going on. Got a lot of things going on here. Is that some of the confusion? Is we got too many irons in the fire here when the caution comes out?
Well, there's a lot of things that go on. We've got a lot of tools and equipment and video and things that we can look at to help us with it. But in circumstances are always unique. We had a couple of 3 situations going on at the racetrack that we were trying to direct our attention to at the same time. We just didn't catch this right. This is something different, something new. We're only about 10 races into this, not racing back, so it's still a learning curve, as we've said before. This is one of those deals that if we could go back and do it over, we would. But trying to go back and do it over would have been worse than letting it go and take its course.
Well, we really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you for coming over.
Explain what happened.
That helps us a whole lot.
Thanks.
Stacy Compton is the free pass car this time. The leader's right behind the pace truck. Compton's waved around. He'll go to the tail end of the line. Here's how they went in for pit stops and where they came out. Johnny Sauter, he is the race leader. Now, he is not immediately behind the safety truck. There are 3 cars on the tail end of the lead lap ahead of him right now. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, there's some conversation in Matt Kenseth's pit about whether the car is going to be all that great when they drop the green flag. All day long on fresh tires, Kenseth has not been as good as other people. So they think it's going to take about 10 laps for this car to come in, and they would really rather see green flag racing right now than all these caution flags, as that gives him fewer laps when the tires are better in comparison to other people.
All right, now Johnny Sauter, our leader, pitted 11 laps ago, so he's out front. In front of Matt Kenseth. There are the 2 of them as we get set to go back to green right after this. You're watching the NASCAR Busch Series on FX, presented by YJ Stinger. Welcome back to NASCAR on FX. Johnny Sauter's Pontiac is the leader. Matt Kenseth's Ford, Tim Fedewa's Chevrolet, Kevin Harvick's Chevrolet, and Casey Kane's Dodge, the top 5. Now, the free pass car this time was Stacy Compton. And there is Compton. He did not get waved around the pace car. He's going to be slotted in line right in front of the leader, Johnny Sauter. And that is as Mike Helton explained, so that the free pass car gains track position but does not gain positions on the field. He will slot in line in the middle of this pack just ahead of the race leader, Sauter.
Which is what we learned from the last go-around. Right. So that's why we're doing it right this time.
And we have 3 different scenarios out there right now, Mike. We have one car that pitted only under caution. Tim Feedlewood in the 12 car did not make a green flag stop. He pitted under caution. He's in 3rd. You've got some cars that pitted under green that did not come back to pit road under caution, like Johnny Sauter, who's leading the race, as well as cars like Johnny Sauter and also Martin Truex. Then you've got some cars like Matt Kenseth that made green flag stops, came back to pit road again under caution.
So to summarize what we've learned, Greg Biffle was erroneously given the free pass, which NASCAR tried to rescind and give the pass correctly to another car, which was Randy LaJoie. But instead of just moving him up in front of the leader, because the leader wasn't right behind the safety truck, they waved him all the way around. They did gain an unfair advantage due to an umpire or referee's mistake. And that happens. Folks are human. They interpret the rules. They do the best they can, and the game plays on. Yeah. So now we're set for the restart.
And Larry,
it took a couple laps to get Compton into the proper slot in line in front of Sauter, the race leader, but that is where he belongs because he gets the free pass to just in front of the race leader.
And I'm out there driving the race car right now. I'm Matt Kenseth, and I'm asking my crew chief every time I go by here, what in the world is going on? And you're telling me we'll talk about it after the race.
That's all you can do, because he's been the leader, but he's restarted back in the pack about 3 times on restarts.
When they come to the green, the Samstown 300 will have 21 laps to go.
Well, that 5 car jumped up on the outside, Larry, and he got a pretty good run on these cats going down here into turn 1.
Kyle Busch, he's back in 5th position right now, restarted back in 5th.
He made a lot. He got about a bunch of those slow cars down the inside on that restart.
And he's going to get the black flag for jumping the restart.
I didn't want to say anything, but he sure was aggressive.
Which is not going to be good with 20 laps to go.
Well, and trying to get on pit road, trying to get on pit road right there up in front of the field, he's going to have to really be careful. He'll get run over.
Oh!
That's Kenseth.
He just slapped
for the lead
hard.
Dave Blaney in the 31.
Oh, Sauter got him.
Yeah, Sauter just turned Blaney around.
And wasn't it Sauter that collided with Kenseth?
Oh, yeah.
And the caution is out. And of course the field is frozen right there, so this is going to be quite a break for Martin Truex, Joe Nemechek, David Green, and Greg Biffle, and Stacy Compton. All of them will get their lap back and back on the lead
big
lap.
Break for the 5 car too. He can do his drive-through under caution.
Absolutely.
Man, that was a little bit of, I don't know. I think I'd have to take another look at that one, boys.
There you see Kyle Busch in the 5 car doing his penalty. Dave Blaney in the 31 moving around.
Look at the side of Kenseth's car. I mean, it's just
it's pretty well destroyed.
Look at that.
Wow. Now this started with Kyle Busch on the restart. Let's have a look first at that. Look for.
He's back here. He just hops out. Here he comes. Here he comes.
Top of your screen. Here he comes.
Now the rule is you can pass to the right, but not till the green flag is displayed.
Yeah, he was passing to the right, but he just got a little early start.
Looked like somebody might have missed a shift up ahead of him. The pack kind of bottlenecked there just a bit.
Don't make no difference.
True.
We've seen that. Yeah, I've heard that story before. Now here they come.
And Sauter in the middle goes down.
Sauter just took off to the left, and there's Kenseth there now.
Yeah, Kenseth's trying to get back up on the track.
Sauter just basically turned the 31 around after that, like he was in the way. There goes Kenseth by, and Sauter's just trying to push his way through.
3 cars trying to go into a 2-car hole.
What I do see is Matt Kenseth and Johnny Sauter both have damage to their car, significant damage.
Yeah, and you know the problem is you don't know until you go back to green if there's going to be a tire rub or not. It's not rubbing now. But that's a lot of heavy contact right there, boys.
Well, in fact, Johnny Sauter in the 27, he's on pit road now.
That 9 car's got a significant damage down the right side. It's not going to hurt the performance of it if it doesn't hurt if it's not rubbing the fenders and smoking the tires.
Any idea what caused Sauter to juke left like that?
It looked like he was bottled. It looked like he was boxed, and he was trying to get out of the box.
Jeannie?
Well, guys, they decided to bring him in because they wanted to look for body damage, and that is exactly what they found, especially on the rear to the car. The rear fender, they're pulling it out. They got the right front fender as well, and they gave him 4 tires, pulled tape on the grill, and now they're going to try to get back to work. It has been a rough day for this team.
They've had a good race car all day, but yeah, all the damage in it, the hood crack right there, the hole in the right front, that car's not going to drive very good now.
Aerodynamically, she's a mess.
Let's ride with Kevin Harvick.
Stand up here, stand, back her down, go low. All right, you're clear. Caution's out.
Good job by Danny
Clear.
Cullen.
There's a look at the Kleenex car, Dick Berggren. How about Matt Kenseth?
Well, the crew is telling him nothing is rubbing, so that's a good thing. Jeff Burton walked over to the television set in the next pit. They don't have a television set here in Kenseth's pit, believe it or not, and he watched all the replays. And Mike Kalanoff, the spotter, looked down at the car. They've told him that the right front fender's pushed in pretty good, but since nothing is rubbing, Matt Kenseth stays out there on the speedway.
Is he the luckiest guy in racing?
He is, but the thing that I'm worried about is when that car goes down in the corner, that right front's going to get into the fender, and it looks like it's shoved in. You can see now I'm pretty sure that he's going to have some tire rub when they go back to green.
Well, with all those cars getting to come around when the caution comes out, with 17 cars on the lead lap, Darrell, do you dare give up that lead in pit?
No, he can't. He's doing what he has to do, which is stay out there and hope for the best.
The 6-car Paul Wolf, he gets the pardon from the Oval Office.
17 laps to go as Johnny Sauter gets together with Matt Kenseth and Dave Blaney to bring out this caution. The green flag is just waved over Matt Kenseth with 15 laps to go. Kyle Busch came in to serve his penalty on pit road for jumping the restart, but the pits had not yet been open for that caution flag, so he got another penalty, got to restart at the tail end of the longest line. Trying to climb back up through, and that's going to be a tough order with 18 cars on the lead lap.
I think with that damage to that right front fender on Kenseth's car, it's going to make the car a little tight, Larry, because it's tucked all the way in there. He's going to lose a lot of front grip, and he's going to hurt off the corner there like that. His car's going to take off with it.
That's where Kevin Harvick in the 21 got such a run. They're neck and neck down the backstretch in turn 3. I believe Kenseth will have to let him have the lead.
I believe if he'll tuck in behind him now and take some and use the car in front of him, that the car will be better.
But that was the first time in over 100 lap of restarts that Matt Kenseth, as the leader, was able to restart the race at the front of the pack.
Kevin Harvick leads for the first time today. 12 to go. Steve Burns.
With Brian Patty, crew chief for Joe Nemechek. Brian, you went from 18th to the lead, got penalized on pit road. That caution could have been a big break for you, an up and down day.
I'm mentally exhausted. I don't.
We all are.
Yeah, I know it's been crazy, but you got to be on top of your game as far as knowing the penalties and how the NASCAR works. The guys chose that were a tail lead lap to stay on the right side. I was behind the leader a lap down, so I chose to go the inside to the front, which helped out. We got our lap back. But 71 Chevrolet has been, probably the fastest car here. We're probably not going to win, but it's been a good showing. We'll take this car back to Texas and get them there.
Let's go to Jeannie.
Well, Lady Luck with the 32 car of David Strebe this weekend as well. Boy, the only time he has ever driven this track outside of just this weekend was on a computer, guys. He actually came to Las Vegas last year and he watched Jamie McMurray went from 33rd in a lap down to 4th. Whatever he learned from Jamie, it's working good for him now.
So far, so good, Jeannie. Dave Blaney checked at the infield care center and released. He is okay after that 3-car crash that brought out the most recent caution. 3 wide. Billy Parker in the middle. Truex tried the bottom, no room. Biffle and Compton both move up. That is about 13th place.
All these cars are on the lead lap except for the car Billy Parker, the 66. There you see Joe Nemechek in the 87 car. He's had a good car all day long. We talked to Brian Patty, though. All the penalties has really put him back in the field, but he's just lucky to be on the lead lap.
Smoke there from the tail of David Green. See if that's anything. As we get down to 10 laps to go. 4th place. Casey Kane back in it. battling the dodge of David Stremme, the 32. And both of them trying to get to the front.
Yeah, and right behind him is little brother Michael. He's coming up through there too. He got him some good skins on this time. He's making some runs toward the front. He's up to 6th place.
Right now with 9 laps to go.
All clear.
Has pulled out to a 2.5 lead. He's just driving away. There he is right there coming at us down the backstretch.
Yeah, I think Kenseth, of course, has just got his hands full right now. I don't car is beat up, guys. I don't see how he's hanging on to it, really.
I don't know if Casey Kane has enough time, but he might have something for Harvick. First, though, he's got to get past Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, he might have something for Harvick, but Harvick would have to slow a little. Here comes Kane.
2nd place.
I just believe that right front fender damage is just killing that 9 car, Matt Kenseth.
Yeah.
Just as you say, right there, he can't get off the corner. Casey Kane pulls him 5 car lengths.
Slide the nose right there because you got no downforce. Got the tires turned, got no grip on that front end now.
Dick Berggren.
And Kenseth has another problem. He just came on the radio and remarked that the car is terrible on new tires, and that's what he's got.
And I think it's not so much the new tires, Dick, as it is that right front fender.
Kenseth gives up 3rd there. That's David Stremme in the Trim Spa Dodge.
You know, as I watch Kevin Harvick drive away from the field here with 7 laps to go, this has got to make him and Richard Childress feel good. This is not the same ride as he was in last year. Remember, Richard Childress basically swapped his drivers. He didn't swap the crews. He now has Rick Vires, the cars that Ron Hornaday drove last year. I mean, everybody just swapped their entire organization, just kept the drivers the same.
1.47 seconds last time by. Let's see if Kane knocked anything out of Harvick's lead.
He's closing.
He did. It's down to 1.1 with 6 to go.
And this joint right here is classic for side-by-side finishes.
Deja vu all over again. 2 weeks ago Sunday.
No pressure behind. Focus on the 21.
Focus, baby. Focus. You closing? Come on. Dig.
Kane spotter. It went from 1.4 to 1.1. We'll check it again here with 5 laps to go. Casey Kane is reeling in Kevin Harvick from 1.1 seconds down to 0.9 seconds.
Oh, he's definitely coming. This is going to be a real tight. It's going to be close at the line here. Might see another finish like we saw last week, Mike.
If he gets 2/10 every lap, Darrell, they're side by side at the checker.
He's so good off the corner right now, especially off turn 2. He gained another 3 or 4 car lengths down the backstretch.
Had a pole. He got a pole this week. Had a 2nd last week. Here he is on a run. Good run today. He won the last Busch race at Homestead. This kid is coming. He's on fire.
But that's good information his spotter is giving him. No pressure from behind. You just focus on your line running down that 21 car, Kevin Harvick.
Let's see. Did he get another 2/10?
Yes, sir.
He did. Plus, you got to remember something. He's getting the suck now. He's got enough. He's close enough now that he's getting a little toe from that 21 car.
He got a 1/4 second that time as Michael Waltrip passes Matt Kenseth for 4th place.
Yeah, Mikey has really done a good job. He made some great calls down there in the pit and got him up to 4th place.
In the backstretch going into turn 3. Now it's just car lengths. 5 car lengths separate the leaders.
It's too bad we don't have a few more laps because I tell you, Stremme's not that far back either.
Crew chiefs can just sit and watch and wait. It's in the driver's hands now. 3 laps to go.
That's what you call getting a whip out now. That 38 is popping that whip.
I believe Doug Stringer, he may pull him off a crew chief position here after today. Crew chief for Casey Kane.
I think the common denominator, Larry, is Casey Kane.
Yeah, I believe
he looks like anybody's going to look good with him in the whip behind the wheel.
You see the last lap speeds.
He's there now.
Watch right here, though. Middle of the corner off. That's where he really makes a run on Kevin Harvick, as they're going to be coming down to 2 laps to go this time.
2 car lengths apart.
Probably nobody tougher to try to take the win away from him than the cat in the lead right now, Kevin Harvick. He's not going to give it up, I can tell you that.
It's been a long day with all 100,000 people here standing on their feet right now.
Stremme is 3rd, Waltrip now 4th. They are 2 and 4 seconds back respectively. Hamilton 5th, 5 seconds behind. He just took 5th from Kenseth. Fito was 7th, Keller 8th, Nemechek 9th, David Green 10th. But now the margin has stabilized at about 2.5 car lengths.
Well, now is when, as a rookie now, you've got to be sure that you don't overdrive your race car and lose a lot of time by doing that.
If you overdrive the entrance, you won't get off the corner.
Exactly.
Let's see it. White flag this time.
Back off early, get on it quick.
Will it be the veteran or the young driver with the young crew chief?
Right here, if he can get off of this corner with him and make it run down the back, I don't think he's going to quite make it.
Darrell, I believe he's got so close to him now, his car is pushing behind Kevin Harvick. He can't get off the corner that good, but he's got one more shot through 3 and 4.
1.5 car lengths to make up.
He's going to go to the inside here. Harvick's got to try to close the door on him.
For the checkered flag, Harvick takes it low. Kane dives to the bottom, and on the apron, Harvick wins it.
There is no out of bounds here. That yellow line don't mean anything.
Oh, no, David Green just got turned.
He's going to come right back up in front of Greg Biffle, Billy Parker.
Holy cow.
Everybody gets by.
And David Green comes across the line in 11th position.
Backwards. What a day, guys.
If we haven't seen it all today, I don't know when.
I got a headache. I'm exhausted.
Picked up a terrible weekend to get off your Prozac, didn't you?
Bad weekend to give up Prozac, guys.
Kevin Harvick holds off the hottest young name in this sport, who for the second race in a row, 2 weeks ago Sunday and today, comes within a car length or so of victory lane. This team made a switch from Ford to Dodge, Casey Kane's team, in the offseason, so they've had a lot of work to do. Well, king of burnouts. Time to make the donuts.
And you know, let's give a call to Danny Culler, his spotter. He talked him through that wreck here on the front stretch. Unlike Johnny Sauter and Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick came through unscathed, and I think that made a big difference at the end too.
Yeah, Harvick could have easily have gotten his front end knocked off in that wreck there with Kenseth and those guys.
Kevin's going to light up the heights.
Oh, again. Light him up, buddy. Oh, he's drifting a little bit. He's going down the hill.
Well, he's from California, where drifting is a big racing sport.
And he will keep the lead in the Busch Series points. He's not running all the races, but remember, this is the championship car from last year.
Here's what happened to David Green.
I'm telling you, this could have been a lot worse than it was. I know he gets some damage here, but that car was headed fast for that outside retaining wall.
And he still crossed the line in 11th place. Good thing that transponder works forwards, backwards, whatever way he came across. Hot Rod Harvick holds off the kid from Enumclaw. We'll go to victory lane after this.
Vegas, and we welcome you back as Kevin Harvick wins for the first time in his Busch career in Las Vegas, his 12th win overall, and got the break as Matt Kenseth was banged into by Johnny Sauter. Let's check in with Steve Burns, who's down there in victory lane with Happy Harvick.
And Chris, Kevin Harvick getting a bath and doing some showering of his own. Kevin Harvick, that was a hard-fought victory. Tell us about the closing shootout. Tell us about the win.
Well, we kept this Reese Chevrolet in the race all day, and you know we were off a little bit there at the beginning, and kept adjusting, and it's all about putting yourself in the right spot. And we've got ourselves in the right spot, and I'm just proud of this Reese's team. You know, we swapped all the teams last year, and Ricky Vires, I know how much this means to him, and everybody at RCR. Just really good day for us, and we just kept fighting.
Kevin, I know you love to race, but you love to win even more.
Well, I love to win, and that's why we do this Busch Series, is to get seat time and to do what we have to do to try to win races. But when we can win this close to home, it's even more special, because I know a lot of those people are from Bakersfield, and a lot of them are from around here and are hardcore fans. So we appreciate all of them. Our fans are great. They stick through us with anything, and no matter what I do wrong, they're always on our side. So it's awesome.
Kevin, were there any close calls today? Any turning points in your mind?
I think the biggest turning point was when they had the wreck on the front straightaway, and Danny Keller told me to go low, and I missed the wreck, and the side of the 9 was bashed in, and you gotta keep everything together until the end of the race. I know Matt knows that, but you know, just they got tangled up, and we won the race.
Congratulations, Kevin Harvick. Let's go back to the hotel.
All right, thanks, Steve. As happy as Kevin was, you saw David Green at the back end of that race, and Greg Biffle just moments ago here talking with David Green. So let's find out what the conversation was all about. Dick Bergman is there. Dick?
Yeah, I'm with both of them. David Green, what happened out there?
Well, to start off with, I got passed more today by cars that I never even seen in the race. The Lucky Dog, the Whoopie Dog, I don't know what the hell it was. But got passed time and time again, guys getting laps back, and but anyway, then Greg and I was racing there for 10th, and we ought to be doing that for first, not 10th. But with all the weird decisions that's being made, we kept getting further and further back. And we had a good car, and I got a little loose up forward right there, and we ran into each other. So the rest is history. I tore my car up, and I got 11th, but hey, he was a man enough to come over and apologize and has a racing deal. We'll go on to the next one and try not to be 10 anymore.
What's your version of what happened, Greg?
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, David Green's one of the cleanest drivers in the Busch Series, you know, and I hated that we got together. And he got wide coming up off the corner, you know, and he got back at the gas early because I was going to get a run on the bottom. I was really working him over. And he got up and almost hit the wall, and his car got loose, and he cut down. You know, it wasn't because he turned the steering wheel down. His car was a little bit sideways, and I already had a run on the inside of him. And he came across my right front fender. You know, I tried to get out of the gas and get out of the way, but he was already loose up off. We don't need to wreck race cars racing for 10th, and that's not the way either one of us race. It's just what happened.
Thanks, Greg. And that's both sides of the story. Matty?
Dick, for the second straight NASCAR start for Kasey Kahne 2 weeks ago at Rockingham, almost a win. Today, almost a win. Take us through that final lap and a half.
Well, for a while, I thought I was going to, reel him in. And once I got close to him, my car started getting looser again, and Kevin's was getting looser, whatever was wrong with his. But, we reeled him in, and I don't know, I just slowed down once I got there. It couldn't turn quite as good, but it was a good run for our great Clips Dodge. And, man, we've struggled. We've been in other people's messes and finally got through it. So it's good to finish second.
And an exciting run from turn 4 to the finish, going all the way down to the apron.
Well, yeah, I went down there. I knew Kevin would, and then went back and just, I wasn't going to do much by doing that, but made kind of an interesting finish anyways.
Good day for Kasey Kahne, second here at Las Vegas. Jeannie?
Finish you're talking about, but interesting race for two of the young men standing by. Bobby, where do you think you're going, buddy? Turn back around. You got yourself back into this race. Now we got to talk to both of you. Bobby Hamilton Jr., David Strummy, I'm going to talk with you because when I walked up, the first thing you said is, I had a tire equalize on me, and then, I thought it was over, but then, man, I went out, it was cool, I was on new tires. Excuse me?
Yeah, it's what Goodyear's brought here has been really great for me to drive on. Because you got a lot of tire management and also set up in the car, and some guys, they run like crazy, and they'll come back to you, and then you'll go forward. And that's kind of the car we had. We had a long-run car, and that's what, at the end with Kasey and Kevin out front, I couldn't catch them. I mean, we needed about a 40-lap run, but it's fun. I mean, to me, to be able to move around, and I think that's why you see a lot of good racing with 3, 2 wide and everything.
So he almost relished the adversity. And speaking of adversity, Bobby, you started so strong and then you drifted back. Where did you come from?
Just great adjustments. During the first of the race, I mean, the car was just tremendous. I was just worried about trying to keep my distance from him. Now that's how great the car was. But Harold Hawley and all the guys at Team Renzi you can't kick us out for nothing. You can kick us out, we're going to find a winner to get back in. He kept making adjustments. The Marines 4 was strong, awesome motor. I mean, motor is killer here. If you ain't got the motor, you're not going to run good. We had all the package today, and we just got back and just ran the right front off. I was an example of what he was talking about, really going after the first, trying to get going. He just burnt my tires up, and just kept adjusting, trying to keep on the racetrack, and it just worked out for us.
All right, both of you guys, congratulations on a great day. You want one final comment quickly?
Halftime, I didn't know who I needed to pass because there was like so many cars and leaders in the middle, and I said, I'm just going to pass whatever I could. Yeah.
I got news for you. A little rules faux pas. We didn't know what was going on either for a little bit. Thank you so much, you guys. Congratulations. Dick?
Michael Waltrip started unlucky 13th, but did a good job and finished 4th. What was it like out there today?
Well, we lost a lap on pit road when we pitted and the leaders didn't. And then we lost a lap on pit road when we left the lug nut off. And we were 3 laps down at one point, made them all 3 up and got back up to 4th. And at the end of the race, had the fastest car on the track. Just a real tip of the cap, the old Aaron's cap to the crew. Jerry Baxter did a great job adjusting. At the end, we had a great car. Just I couldn't understand what was wrong with it all day because yesterday it was really strong in happy hour. But we got the old Aaron Chevy running at the end. I think we had a few more laps. We had something for those cats.
An up and down day for Michael Waltrip ends on the upside. Chris?
All right, thanks, Dick. And the driver's trying to make some sense of a very unusual Vegas show. And we'll come back and talk about Kasey Kahne again, a last-second finish in the second place is Kevin Harvick, the points leader in the Busch Series, running 3rd in the Cup Series. You'll see him again tomorrow on Fox. And we'll be back here in Las Vegas in just a moment. Glad to have you with us here on FX, and hang around. Nextel Cup practice for tomorrow's race, which you'll see on Fox, is coming up following here in just a couple of moments. So leave it here on FX. We're going to look at the nice scenery here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers at the Super 8 Hollywood Hotel. All right, we got a lot to cover here. First, Kevin Harvick, and he said it in the post-race interview. Hey, he hung in there, caught a break when Matt Kenseth got banged up with Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, I think that was a difference right now. Matt Kenseth definitely, I thought, had the best race car, but all of a sudden right there at the end when Johnny Sauter and him got together, the door was open for Kevin Harvick, and basically he went and closed the deal.
All right, so Chevy comes in first, back by 2 Dodges. And how about David Green saying and making reference to, we saw Greg Biffle explain, hey, NASCAR made a mistake. He made a mistake too. But the Green comment about lucky dog, whoopee dog, who's out there, free pass, freeze the field, hit a bunter.
I'm telling you right now.
The drivers don't like it.
Very confusing for a lot of the guys today, and I think especially right there, you were hearing a lot of frustration right there by David Green. Kept his composure because I know he was frustrated with the fact that he got together with Greg Biffle right there, racing for 10th, and he felt like I think he had a shot at finishing in the top 5, but because of the way the rules worked out today, he kept getting pushed back, and by the end, hey, he got a tore-up race car.
All right, former winner, in fact, the only one in this field, and he led for a while, had a good car today. Joe Nemechek is standing by with our Steve Burns. Steve?
And Chris had the best car for a long time. Joe, what an up and down day for you guys.
Hey, really disappointing. Had all the folks from Cell One here and Dobson Cellular Systems, and our Cellular One North Network Chevy was very, very good. I mean, started the race, no one was even close, and all of our problems started with me missing pit road. I got in just a little bit too fast, and when I hit the marbles, I slid. And I didn't know if I was going to take the outside cones out, and I didn't know if that was a penalty or not. So I'm going to have to get clarification on that.
We're all confused today, Joe.
So, you know, I missed pit road, and then when we were on the pit stop, they got a gas can hung, and we had to stop and go penalty. But still to come back and be on the lead lap, finish 9th. We overcame incredible obstacles. Our car was good. Wagner motor, power, awesome. We had the car to win, but we didn't win. That's the way it goes.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Let's check in with Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Mike Bliss, who started on the pole, wound up finishing in 12th spot. So many people had such strange days. Was your day normal? Was your day strange?
It was strange. We started out not very good. We got real loose, then we got real tight, and then we got loose. I mean, we were all over the place. Well, to top that off, when a yellow comes out, you don't know where you are on the racetrack because somebody pitted, somebody didn't. Man, I think this year's going to be tough on scorers more than it is drivers because it took longer to figure out where you belong on the racetrack than it did and everything else. But, you know, the Rockwell Automation Chevrolet was good at the end. It took a few laps to get going, and we, you know, at the end we only had 5 or 6 laps. But, you know, we're pretty happy. We're pleased with that. We finished. It looked like it wasn't going to be a good day the way all those cars were 4 wide getting into 1, and it was a pretty eventful day.
And the team is definitely coming together. Mike Bliss started on the pole today, ran well all day long.
Thanks, Dick, and we'll come back as we got to look at the results. Casey Kane second there to Kevin Harvick. The complete results and point standings coming your way from Las Vegas in a moment. Kevin Harvick, he loves those Reese's to pieces and celebrating a win here in Las Vegas. And you got to see the Busch points leader on display and add to his lead today. He came to Las Vegas with a 5-point advantage over Johnny Sauter, and you see how it stands at the moment as he widens that lead.
Right now, the guys gained big benefits right now. It's me like David Green. You know, he's lost a few. Bobby Hamilton did move up in the points.
Martin Truex Jr. running at 8th. Let's go upstairs, rejoin Larry, Darrell, and Mike. Guys?
And Chris, yes, it was a confusing day for the drivers who didn't have the perspective that we had or the adjacency to the NASCAR officials booth. I've seen the heads of some Major League Sports run from Fox microphones on live TV. Not Mike Helton. He comes over, explains their mistake in an unfamiliar new situation, and then on the next caution flag, when presented a similar situation, make sure it doesn't happen again. Yes, there was confusion, but I give them high marks for the way they handled it.
Oh, there's no question about it. I love the, you know, Mike come over, that's cool. You got Biffle down there telling Green, hey, man, we're just racing, that's cool, you know, made a mistake. But as I saw in a movie one time, very interesting, but not very funny.
Marty Johnson, laughing.
But I think he hit the nail on the head. You know, this is only a 10-race process that's been in place, and they continue to find weaknesses. They'll just have to continue to adjust on it.
A great day for Kevin Harvick, only led 14 laps. He got the win. A tough day for Matt Kenseth, who coulda, woulda, shoulda won it, and some of the others. Back down to the Super 8 Hollywood Hotel to close us out.
All right, thanks, guys. And Matt Kenseth led the most laps at 68, and it really was a veteran. Harvick's only 28, but he held off the 23-year-old young gun, and you said that at the start of the broadcast.
Told you he was going to take a veteran right there, and that's what happens. A guy like Kevin Harvick, he kept his cool, kept his foot in the right place, drove his car down and put a little bit of a block on that young man, but it's going to be a great race probably tomorrow, too.
And we said Kevin Harvick. I want to talk about tomorrow. Third in the Cup points. You just saw the Busch points leader. What should we look for based on what we saw today? With all the confusion, it was a great finish, and it was exciting, and that's what Vegas, that's what this town is all about.
That's what it's all about. But right now, what the whole deal is going to be tomorrow is no mistakes. No mistakes by the driver, no mistakes by the crew, and let's hope no mistakes by NASCAR.
All right, well, we'll all do our best. You know, we get caught up in having a good time here, and you should join us. Of course, coming up next on FX, NASCAR Nextel Cup practice. Get to see who has the last-minute adjustments for tomorrow. And then tomorrow, start your day with NASCAR this morning on Fox Sports Net, followed by the world's best drivers. And the race, note the time, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific on Fox. America's watching. You should, too. We'll talk to some of the rookies in the race and also get you ready for the race tomorrow. So Kevin Harvick holds off Casey Kane. Runner-up Casey putting on last-second dramatic fashion. Help to set the tone. Yeah, they started and they finished. Over 100,000 people, over $1 million going to the winner as Kevin Harvick cashes in. And tomorrow, be with us on Fox. Robert Goulet will sing the anthem. Robin Leach will do driver introductions. It doesn't get any bigger than that. FX Nextel Cup practice coming your way.